Okay, we're live. Let's let me look at my sound levels and adjust a little there. Let me push the mic slightly closer to my face, even though I kind of was loud before.
Let me take a sip of this coffee.
Alright, we both seem a little soft on the sound waves, but we're about right. Hey, by the way, this is a show that's actually being recorded, and I should let you guys know that this episode brought to you by our patrons, like Ahiga Comics, Qua, and Nestor Flores. I assume, anyway, Patreon sent me an email this morning that was like, by the way, we're having payment processing is slower than usual, so just to let you know, we're working on it as fast as we can, so I assume everybody's still patrons.
I hope.
And
I love you guys.
Patreon hasn't goofed us out of anything. Hopefully
I love you guys
everything's
even
okay.
if you aren't patrons. Lucky's love is universal.
Well, okay,
but,
so we're still showing the same number, so I just don't know if the wallet processing part is working right. The joys of the first couple days of every month, which only agitates my anxiety. Yeah, okay, it's just super slow in processing. Usually we're like most of the way done. It's only like a quarter of the way done.
So, real quick, elephant in the room. There might be some people wondering, where the fuck is our Let's Talk FGO this week? We put out some messages on Twitter, YouTube, and our Discord that we did not record one this week. There is literally no news. Like, dead serious, no news.
There's no news at all. I figure there's maybe like one or two anecdotes from the week. Because what's really the community is a buzz right now is the challenge quest for Prison Tower finally opened up. So everybody's talking about how they did that. But that would have been, what, like 5-10 minutes each, tops? Talking about how we did it?
Yeah. And then, like, as I said, so, like, after that, we would have nothing. It would, it'd be us using a lot of filler words and trying to make up something. It's like, I don't know. Didn't quite feel it.
No, it didn't feel right. Like, we were having this discussion because I was thinking about it, because you'd slept in that day because you were up really late, and I was like, so I wasn't in any hurry, but I was thinking about it, and then you got up and were like, hey, do we have a show this week? And I'm like, I'm looking at the notes and not really. And actually, you mentioned we posted on YouTube. That public post actually, it seemed like it got a surprising amount of engagement. It's got several comments from our regulars, got a handful of likes and stuff. So we might do that more in future.
Oh yeah. Omega, you mentioned I had slept in, and this might be a large section of the show today, but I slept in because I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I decided.
Well, yeah. So we both physically own Kingdom Hearts 3. I figured, do we want to do an order of operations? Because I'm still on the story so far. I haven't caught up to 3 yet. Do we want to go chronologically, or do you want to just fire in?
I just want to fire in because I'm not going to get into major spoilers or whatnot.
Well, good, because otherwise I'd be upset. Yeah.
But Omega, you would say that I'm I'm an emotional person. I cry at the drop of a hat at things. Would you say that?
Correct.
Kingdom Hearts 3 has not made me cry a single time so far.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I was trying to think of the best way to sum up my feelings on this, and that's one of the things. So there's multiple reasons why I approach this. For one, I 110% regret not buying the story so far. Because that was one of those things I wanted to see what happened. It's like, just playing on the levels of nostalgia and bits I've read online and whatnot, how much does Kingdom Hearts 3 hold up? Or how do I need to fucking play all the games in a somewhat recent time to make this enjoyable?
I don't know if you need to play all of them, but I will say that, to spoiler for my future opinions, there is a very neat feature in 3D Dreamed of Distance, where you get these things called mementos, which include flashbacks to events before the main story that are optional, and also it just recaps all the fucking games. Like you can watch optional recaps while you play through 3D. So maybe I didn't need to play all these other games.
Yeah, well, Kingdom Hearts 3 said to have that. The memory archive, it's like 5 cutscenes of about 2 to 3 minutes.
Ooh, that's way too short.
Omega, all of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, they try to sum up in 15 minutes. It's like,
ooh, that's not good. Listen, I didn't enjoy watching the recoded movie. Which once again, we're bleeding into my future thoughts as I'm, working on getting my way through to 3. But goddamn, like watching 358 as a movie was great. That was super emotionally impactful. So yeah, no, that's definitely feel like they've played too easy on the slim down there.
Yeah. So this is like one of my main complaints about Kingdom Hearts 3 is too much has been cut down to save. Like I am mostly convinced that Sora should be in a fucking mental hospital right now because he has so much goddamn memory loss. There are like so many.
I mean, if you want to be critical of the franchise as a whole, I do have some problems, which is whether it's the core writers or somebody in the marketing team or whatever feels the need to constantly reset Sora to 0.
Yeah.
Which I believe a couple of our community members have commented on, because that happens all the time. Like, once again, to bring up 3D, why? And I'll say this: Haley Joel Osment really improving as a voice actor. Like between Rechain of Memories and Dream Dark Distance, he's definitely changed his voice to pretending to be younger Sora better. Because in Rechain of Memories, which was immediately post Kingdom Hearts 2, he is literally just doing his Kingdom Hearts 2 post-puberty voice. In 3D, for some reason, they feel the need to use, maybe because it's the original graphical limitations on the 3DS or whatever, even when they made the HD port, but they feel the need to use the Kingdom Hearts 1 models for some reason, and the voice acting is pitching Sora up to make him sound younger, even though obviously I assume Haley Joel Osment's got to be about my age, because between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, he hit puberty and his voice changed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the constant need to do that is about. Because I do think it hurts some of the game design a little. Meanwhile, Riku's character arcs are great. Like, there's a ultra-dynamic character throughout the entire story who actually, works on his problems and stuff. And learns from his mistakes constantly. But yeah, so basically what it sounds like you're saying to me is that somebody in the room, whether that's Nomura directing and writing it, or whether that's high-level design people at Disney or Square Enix, was like, so this is 3, that means we have to make it so you can jump straight from 2 to here, despite the fact that is not how Kingdom Hearts is written.
Yeah.
And just lots of ignoring whether or not you played those other game titles, which were side games, quote-unquote.
Yeah, they're all referenced. Believe it or not, there's even a reference to the MOBA game. To the, Kingdom Hearts, MU, or whatever. They even threw that in the game. It's a really cool
fucking Kingdom Hearts, guys. Oh my god.
Yeah, they threw that in there. I'm not gonna spoil that win, because that's a pretty major, and it was pretty cool if it's not fucking Deus Ex Machina. Oh my god, there's so much Deus Ex Machina.
Well, there's always been a lot of Deus Ex Machina. I think that's the Disney writing.
Yeah.
But it's weird. The original 2, and especially 1, are very much almost like children's stories, right? They're very innocent and Disney-esque. And honestly, the writing's never grown out of that, so it could just be that we're too fucking old for this game anymore. And we're missing the childlike light in our hearts.
Oh my god. Maybe.
But
maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm as much as I am glad to hit this game up and finally get there, and obviously, as we've said, I'm doing the whole thing. I got the story so far. I went back to day 1 playing Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix, and have gone through every game except Rechain of Memories where I rage quit. But that's okay. Because luckily I feel like because this is a numbered title, we at no point had to play Kingdom Hearts 1 again, which is the other obsession with this series that kills me every time.
You see, that's the thing, I played the fuck out of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, so I was like, yeah, I got, the main number entries are firmly notched in my fucking belt.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I believe I don't know if you said this on air, but I believe you said at one point you only played one story of Birth by Sleep?
Yeah, I played Ventus's story of Birth by Sleep. I completed Sora's path and Chain of Memories. I started Dream Dark Distance, didn't beat it. I said I couldn't beat fucking DS game. and never had Recoded, and I never got the final prologue. So, like, all of that, like, just, like, not in my memory archive. Game doesn't explain it. And guess what? All those events are referenced constantly in the game. They never explain.
I felt like that was coming.
Yeah,
no. But, oh boy.
Like,
so, yeah, I will say this. Like, even if that doesn't mean that I have the same subjective experience that you do, I 100% agree that that's not a good quality.
Yeah. And this, like I said, this is one of the reasons why I decided not to, because, as I said, we talk about shit for, well, kind of a living right now, and I was like, we need to be able to bring, like, another view to this. And I kind of regret it. I should have bought fucking the story so far. I really should have. That being said, I haven't God, I can't find a physical copy. I think, like, they're all out of stock. I'm like, did they stop producing them? I'm gonna be real sad if they stop producing them.
Well, I gotta, trust me, after I'm done with this, I'm not going back for trophies for a long time. I might be able to loan you my copy. Because
But let's see here. So, gameplays and combat-wise, it's a fucking mixed bag, right? There's still flow motion, combat is still hella sweet.
Okay, that's really good. Flow motion is one of the improvements from 3D that I really enjoy.
I just wish that they didn't try to turn every single fucking fight into a Disney amusement park.
Yeah, that's something that I've so I think this actually was just posted on our Discord, that it's been pointed out that while it is developed in partnership with Square Enix, that Kingdom Hearts has become wholly owned by Disney Interactive, and which is under their actual business and marketing division, which may be why there is such a Disney-heavy lean, and a lean into very popular modern Disney works in this game.
Oh yeah, by the way, there are no Final Fantasy characters in this game.
Interesting. That's real bad. There are a lot of there's a lot of fucking plot hooks there left over from earlier games I wanted resolved.
Yeah, you know how in the usual they open up like the respective licenses from Watch and Watch.
Yeah.
You know how like they used to have like the Final Fantasy licenses? Yeah, they don't even have that screen anymore.
That's not
good.
Even reference. What about all my friends in Radiant Garden? And what about what the fuck was going on with Cloud? And what about what happened to Zack after Birth by Sleep, which was never picked up again?
Yeah, just gone. Like,
That's a business level clusterfuck right there. Like, that has nothing to do with previous entries in the series, I don't think. That's just...
Like, I could be wrong. I haven't beat the game. I haven't found the final bosses, so I don't know if Sephiroth is still there to fuck your shit. Like, imagine that, a Kingdom Hearts number title without Sephiroth as a final boss.
Yeah, he's been a classic. Like, that was this was early internet days, so that was a big deal, was figuring out that he was the platinum match, and, like, the theme song plays and everything. You get your ass completely obliterated the first time because he's real tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's probably one of the reasons why you don't go to Traverse Town. You just don't go. There's I don't know, for like a big numbered series on the PlayStation 4.
Actually, I was just thinking about it. Yeah, I was trying to wonder, were there Square Enix characters? No, there's characters of 3D. There's characters from The World Ends With You, which is a Square Enix title. So, wow, that must have been a recent business decision that is very unfortunate.
Yeah. So, Big Brother Disney leans heavily, super heavily, on this game, and I think it kind of hurts it, like in the combat, because while I've gotten to the point where I just don't use the attractions right. I literally wish there was a way I can just fucking turn them off, because I feel like
that is, I think, that's a design problem that I think Kingdom Hearts has, which is after 2, they felt the need to make the combat gimmicky. There's almost always a whole bunch of fucking combat mechanics. Like, Birth by Sleep is like, you got your regular ass command deck, and then you've got shot lock, and then you've got command styles, and then you've got D-links, and maybe some other stuff that I forgot.
There's a fuck ton of shit here.
And then 3D is the same thing. Like, you can do flow motion, and then you can summon fucking monsters to help you, and also other stuff. And it's just, I feel like, having played 2 fairly recently and all the way through, I feel like I miss some of the just tight, relatively normal experience that was 2. Because 2 was very fluid. The mobility was good. which I do appreciate, though, that flow motion kind of brings some of that mobility into everything. You know, like, you don't have to do any drive grinding to just start doing mobility stuff.
Oh, yeah, like, there are no drives in Kingdom Hearts 3, which makes me super sad. I have not got to dual wield a Keyblade, and this, like, infuriates me.
Yeah, that was a really cool thing. That
was, like, I can understand that as, like, a design choice, but, like, still, it was, like, one of those things. It was because it was the iconic things for Roxas and Kingdom Hearts fucking, 2, I was to say as a whole, was, because everyone remembers that scene from the trailer, where in one arm it's fucking Oblivion, the other arm it's Oathkeeper, and you're like, oh shit!
And Axel completely echoes you in that moment when he shouts 2!
Yeah.
Which they had to explain in 358 why Axel is confused.
So, but
yeah, no, I guess so. What you're saying to me, if I can kind of like walk through this, is basically it sounds like there was a lot more executive direction from Disney in this game, which has kind of limited some of their design choices and direction, and it has not necessarily helped the gameplay be a proper expansion from 2 to 3.
Yeah. Let's see here. Like, combat, like, there's still flow motion. It's fun. It's easy. Like, literally, like, it's easy. You can do the shot lock button, and you can do shot lock, or you can just push square, which makes you do an air drive, which makes you just go flow motion straight to the target. Omega, I'm telling you like this. Remember this fucking tactic, because there are enemies that are super fucking annoying.
Well, that's a problem Kingdom Hearts has always had.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't remember the enemies being annoying, that's just nostalgia. You just edited that out of your memories. They've always been fucking annoying enemies.
Yeah, there's gonna be plenty of them, and the quickest way to close distance between an enemy that likes to get distance from you and then bombard you with range attacks or stupid gimmick attacks is put them in your shot lock reticle, hit square, and you'll almost instantly teleport to them. And go, like, straight into combos. It is super fucking useful. Everyone remember this tip. But yeah, like, there's the shot locks, there's form changes, which isn't like the drive, well, it's kind of like drive change, but that's how you do get, like, all your extra, like, your additional weapons and shit. It's super fun. Some of them are entertaining. I'm being kind of a dick, and I'm only using non-Disney Keyblades though, so my repertoire is kind of small, but that's fine, because something that I will laud, and I thank whoever decided to put this in, you can upgrade your Keyblades now so that they're stronger.
Yeah, I heard that finally there's no more junk Keyblades. The game was moving away from that for a while. At least, like, Birth by Sleep was much more balanced, because you would choose, like, okay, so maybe this didn't up your strength at all, but it gave you a slight magic edge, or this upped your strength, so you would kind of, like, balance it between your command choices. Because you had to load your deck different ways. So, like, for instance, if you were playing Aqua, you were like, fucking whatever about strength. Give me the Keyblade that gives me, like, +2 magic right now. And then if you were playing Terra and you got his, like, ultra secret final Keyblade that you get just before the end of the game, it's like, okay, so this gives you actually, like, -2 magic, but, like, a shitload of strength. But there was still tiers, and I feel like, while I haven't encountered it yet, I feel like Dream Drop is going to be the same.
Yeah. So, you can upgrade your Keyblades, and you can equip up to 3 at a time and cycle between them mid-fucking combat. So,
that's good. That's a good improvement.
That's a good improvement. Hella good. Magic is a lot more interesting. I don't know if you can do this in Dream Drop Distance, but, one of my favorite things to fucking do now, I can cast Blizzard, and then I can grind the rail behind the ice trail. Super fucking fun.
That's cool. That feels like a direction they've been going since, like, Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop, but that's not actually there, at least as far as I know. I know there's some enemies who create ice trails, but I don't, as of yet, my low-level Blizzard commands don't do that.
Yeah, but, like, you can, like, if you, like, spam magic commands or use, like, you can start using, like, a magic command higher. It's like, they put a lot more effort into making magic, something that you can use mid-combat instead of, having to stop and cast. Cause they have the shortcut menus again, but now they have it kind of set up like the Keyblades, is that you have multiple shortcuts menu, and you can cycle between them. So instead of only having, like, 4 shortcuts that you can use ever, you now have 12, and it just takes like an additional tap of the button to get to them, which is super useful. So now I can finally put my fire, like, I can put all my elemental spells plus cure into my shortcuts, and I can access them relatively quick, which maintains the flow of battle, which is something that I'm super keen on. Like, because, as I said, like, one of the things I loved about Kingdom Hearts 2 was just the fact that somehow you always, like, it was hard, like, once you got into that flow of battle of guarding, dodging, comboing, like, knocking people up, knocking people down, going into drive form, it created a really nice flow, and you're like, yes, I am in the fucking zone.
Kingdom Hearts 2 has great rhythm.
Yeah.
But now it takes you a little bit to work on to get, like, some of your extra moves, but, like, once you start getting some levels and you get some abilities, you get, like, use this to close distance, use this to close distance on an aerial guy, use this when you're in a close-range combo, press square in the middle of a combo to switch up your combo a little bit, and then do different finishers, and then eventually you get the ability that costs, like, 5 AP, which is, like, do all your finishers in a sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that lets you do combos even if you're not hitting anybody, and then you're just like, and you find your own rhythm really easily. You get recovery abilities automatically and stuff. And that is something I will say and I don't know if 3 has this, like, a whole separate system to, like, attach different action commands, like, you gotta switch out your regular jump to high jump, and you gotta do the aerial dash and whatever. But that's something I don't like necessarily about Birth by Sleep and, even 3D in that respect, which is, like, you have a whole separate menu which tracks all your different commands, like equipping a guard, the dodge roll, the slide, the high jump, and then different stuff. So it's like you don't just turn those on. You have to go through and make sure they're equipped in their proper slots and everything. And it's different from 1, which was like automatically, okay, now you high jump. And in 2, it was just all your abilities are all in a row. There's no like type, so it's just okay. Turn on high jump, turn on aerial. So it's a lot clunkier, the interfaces, because they keep adding shit.
Yeah. But I'm gonna say, like, as I said, combat's hard. The attractions, I think, are a literal waste of space. And the main reason being is you can have multiple special abilities waiting in the wings at any given time. So you could have, like, a combo attack, a freaking attraction, and, like, one of your form changes, all in a row, all on a timer, and you have to use them in sequential order. So let's say I get the attraction first, then there's a form change, and then there's the combo attack, but I want to use the combo attack. I have to go through the attraction and the form change first, and if I go into the form change, then my triangle's automatically turned into the special fucking attack for this form change, and I have to use that before I can use the combo attack. Because, like I said, the combo attacks are usually really good, like AoE, like Goofy's Bombardier is super fucking useful. You can actually use this one-shot some specific types of enemies. And, like, other things, and I just have to wade through all these other timers, or either, like, activate the timer, and, fight through it. And what's worse is when you have fucking, the rage form from Kingdom Hearts 2 returns. Like, that's a minor spoiler, but I think you'll forgive me. Where, like, if you get low health, it will pop up. You can use it and it'll heal you, but you turn into, like, Dark Sora, Anti-Sora for a bit, and it's a risky move. But you can't quit that mood once you're in it. You have to, like, wait it out, and it's kind of rough.
Anti-form is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm. So, I kind of feel like they should have had an ability where you can cycle through your action command. Yeah, that's what they're called, action commands. So,
yeah, because that's kind of how the menus are built in Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop, where you get your command deck. So you just rotate up on the D-pad when you need to do a different command. And if you're like, well, fuck, my cure is like halfway through, and that's the next of the sequence, you can fiddle around in the deck and find a command that's up. Because everything's on timers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels so strange to have such a excellent action RPG engine in 2, and then it kind of doesn't. I'll be honest. I don't think it improves with time so far through the different follow-ups.
Yeah.
Whether that was engine limitations on, like, because they're all on fucking portable machines, or what. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think my biggest fucking gripe with the combat is, of course, the lock-on system.
Locking on's always been kind of weird.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, if you're only fighting, like, 2 to 3 enemies, yeah, it's cool. It's alright. Kingdom Hearts, well, when do you ever only pit me against 2 to 3 enemies? And if there are only 2 to 3 enemies, guess what? One of them is gonna have some weird, janky teleportation powers that's gonna remove your lock-on. So...
That's always really
so trying to...
That's the thing I always hate about... That's a problem I'm having right now with Dream Drop is that with, like, lock-on and, like, bosses... Because bosses are always moving their asses around, they're teleporting, they're shifting forms. I'm trying to beat this one guy in a monster right now who flips on the fucking ceiling, and that ditches your lock. Because you can't go on the ceiling until you hit a thing and you flip the terrain around and whatever. That's, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the lock-on was always convenient, and in some games it's been basically required to actually be on target because the auto-targeting sucks. The camera in Kingdom Hearts 1 was awful. Which is, it's helped by the HD re-release, but it was always really bad, so locking on was, like, vital to actually focus on your target. And, I found that in Birth by Sleep, the auto-lock was very finicky. So...
Yeah, the lock, and, the lock is super finicky in Kingdom Hearts 3, like, there's no indicator of really what you're going to lock onto. They'll just have the yellow outline thing. But guess what? They can put that yellow outline on multiple enemies at the same time. And I'm like, and so basically, if you push the lock-on button, I'm pretty sure there is a one specific one that it's gonna pick for a reason, but that reason is unknown to me. Like, maybe it's the closest one, maybe it's the one most center of your view. I don't fucking know.
I don't know. But, the game really just wants you to fucking lock onto enemies, but that's its own problem.
Yeah. Like, there's a fight, I'm assuming towards the end. I don't know, I haven't beat the game, I'm 40 hours in, maybe I'm getting close, where you have to fight the same fucking enemy 8 goddamn times. Oh my god. This was the enemy that almost, made me hurt pretty bad, because, he was a fan of, teleporting the fuck away, and, leaving a decoy behind which would explode, which you could lock onto. So, you'd be in the middle of a combo, you'd be locked onto him, he would fucking teleport away, leave his decoy, but since the decoy was lock-onable, you didn't even lock onto him, just because he was close, you would automatically lock onto that decoy, start attacking it, and it would explode and damage you.
Yeah, that's
devious, because I'm not gonna say that's necessarily bad.
No, that's just really that exemplifies the annoying part of Kingdom Hearts bosses, which is I've been making, but I think you've agreed with some of my jokes about Kingdom Hearts being the proto Dark Souls of action RPGs.
Oh yeah,
because it really is. It's all about minute timing windows and perfect action economy, and timing your combos. Because ever since 2, but it's gotten worse, I think, in subsequent games, the enemies have timers and counters built into their AI, which is, okay, so you've wombo comboed me 5 times. I have a move to get out of it, so you can't just eternally combo. Like if I really like to do this for certain mushrooms in 2, but the Berserk Charge, where you never do a finisher, you combo endlessly. Like if you exploited that versus a boss, they'd never get away. So they have to have escape moves, so you can't just cheese them. But at the same time, the bosses are very precise, and that's why I haven't done certain, I didn't bother the extra grinding I needed to do the extra bosses in 1, because they were all super fucking annoying and had their giant health bars. That's kind of why I didn't bother the grinding and the endless practicing for the data battles in 2, because I was just half of this is just RNG and skill, and I don't have the time to learn 13 boss fights or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't have that problem in Birth by Sleep, really. I believe that there's a super hard, optional boss there, but just playing those games, it didn't feel like there was a lot, hiding out on the fringes or anything. Which we can talk about my feelings on Birth by Sleep shortly. Since I'm done with it.
I still got more to say. So yeah, the logon is a problem, as I said. Because at that point, you've lost the log on your boss, and then you have to go fucking find them again while they're teleporting around, and you're like, oh my god. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, teleporters are a pain in the ass. Those are some of the bosses that almost always really get me.
Let's see here. Gummy ships are good. They're good, Civ. They,
That's good.
Honestly,
that's one of the things I've been majorly looking forward to, is what... It's been how many years? over 15?
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that?
They changed up They changed up how the gummy ships worked a little bit. Like, instead of everything being like on rail sections, it's more of a open field, and you can go run into enemies, and you can go explore, you can go find blueprints and stuff. It's real fun. The actual shooting sections are like, are kind of on rails. It's kind of like Space Invaders, where you just know they're going across the screen and you shoot at them. It's still fun though. I enjoy it. I spent several hours doing it.
That's real good. Because like I said,
it's
that's something I've been hoping would be a major. They've had plenty of time to develop the tech, and none of the other the filler games, the bridging titles, have fucked around with gummies at all.
Yeah. So no, I think they took a approach of if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach to the gummy ships, and honestly, it worked out great for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
if only we had taken that approach to the Kingdom Hearts 2 combat engine. How amazing would all these games be if you could just do Kingdom Hearts 2 controls for the entire time? Just think about it, everyone. Think about how great that would have been.
Let's see here.
Think of all the fucking finishers I could do if I could actually not just be limited to 8 abilities tops.
Oh man. So the worlds themselves are a mixed bag. Like that's the best way.
That's once again, that's always been kind of a thing.
Yeah. So
I'll ask you this: you played a little bit of Dream Drop, right? Are the maps are more the Dream Drop style size, right?
Yeah, they're big.
Especially because flow motion. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, they're big. I guess I'm gonna spoil some minor details, but you go to you go to a toy store world, and there's literally you go to a 3-story toy store as a toy size.
Whew.
And it's all one giant fucking room.
Nice. That's like the fucking Notre Dame Cathedral, which was technically it's the same map at the top and bottom.
Yeah. So it's like maps are like that. The Pirates of the Caribbean world, it has a couple island subsections, but the majority of a map is a giant fuck all sea with a bunch of islands while you get to pilot a ship around, shooting your cannons at heartless ships, which is super fun. Good. Like I said, it's great because you have broadside cannons, so you can go and you can do it's basically a mini version of Assassin's Creed Black Flag with some ridiculous magic abilities on top of it. Because as you attack ships, you fill up a meter, and once the meter gets full, you do a special attack. One of those special attacks is a fucking water spout pushes your ship into the air. And then you do a dive bomb attack with your fucking ship onto whatever. I'm all like, this should not work, but I'm gonna fucking do it because it's intense.
Magic.
There's a distinct difference in the worlds and their storytelling. One is you're in the middle of their fucking Disney story. The other is you're after their Disney story. And the stories between them drastically tells you. Because if you're in the Disney story, they're telling the fucking Disney movie, and you might not be there for all the fucking details. When you go to the Frozen world...
Actually, I was just going to mention that because I have... I don't think it's a spoiler, because I have... but I've seen it on... People have tweeted about how there's the big song number... Obviously, because that's what the movie is famous for. And in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's an almost shot-for-shot remake, but Sora's just in the background grinning like a fucking idiot. And there's actually a shot-for-shot comparison video, which I have not watched myself, because I want to experience it in the moment. But apparently it's pretty close.
Yeah, honestly, I Let It Go. I like that scene. I thought it was good, so I didn't mind watching it in fucking, Kingdom Hearts 3. But here's the thing. So you basically start with, like I said, I apologize for anyone who's not seen Frozen. If you haven't seen Frozen, go watch Frozen. It's a goddamn good fucking movie.
Also, Frozen's it's based on it's loosely based, obviously, because it's Disney, but it's based on a classic fairy story. So
yeah.
Read a goddamn book.
It basically starts off with Elsa fucking running into the mountains, and you don't know why. You just know, there's this girl running in the fucking cold. Why isn't she cold? Let's follow her. You do this, you find out nothing, you fight some shit, you run into his sister and Hans, then you find out that Elsa's a fucking queen, and you're like, what? And it's like, we're gonna go stop her, and I'm like, okay guys, you go do that. more skipping of shit, more fighting, more getting blasted off mountains. At some point, it's like, oh yeah, like, at some point, like, you fight, this is my favorite part of fucking, the world. You know that giant, ice golem thing? Do you remember that from Frozen? The thing that, like, threw everyone out of Elsa's ice palace?
You're implying
that fucking, you haven't seen Frozen?
I don't think I've watched a Disney movie in a handful of years.
Oh my
Listen,
God,
I don't get out much.
We're gonna watch fucking Frozen. It's a good damn movie. Fuck you.
That's fine. If you actually sat and watched a movie, it's probably okay.
Yeah. But basically, like, throughout all... Okay, so now I have to step back and take a few steps. Basically, through all the worlds, something that I do think they super fucking improved on, instead, like, of you having to swap out a party member to get the world-related ally in, no, they just join your fucking party. So it's always gonna be you, Donald, and Goofy.
I feel like that was probably like an arbitrary engine limit. Like, we could only stick two characters we could only stick like two buddies on the screen at a time, so we made you swap to just conserve resources. We're on the PS4 now, everybody. We don't, and also, I guess, is it also on Xbox in America?
I think so.
But yeah, so we're on modern consoles now. It's the year of our Lord, Mickey Mouse, 2019.
So yeah, so you'll have like Buzz and Woody. You'll have fucking Mike and Sully. You'll have I'm trying to think of others where there's like actually two of them. You'll have Rapunzel and Flynn. But in Frozen, you only get one, and it's a giant fucking ice golem that like only got like 5 minutes of screen time in the actual movie. I'm like, I'm okay with this. I want to be friends with a giant snow golem. This is okay. But like, so then you go back down the mountain, and then you're at the fucking scene where there's a scene where you just see some dude carrying Elsa over his back. They don't introduce him. Like, in another screen, they mention his names, but there's no reason to connect the fucking two together. And then in another scene, he's just fucking down on the ground, face down. You never see his fucking face. Then he sinks into the darkness and turns into this giant ice wolf, which is a really fucking intense fight. Oh my God. It was really badass. But I said, like, no time. And then, like, everything's solved, everything's happy. You're like, cool.
That feels like a weird thing. I wonder if that's like maybe like were the Japanese writers and developers not super into Frozen and they didn't like follow it? Was that like a writing decision from Disney, which was like, hey, this is our most popular movie ever in the last couple of years. Don't fuck around with it. Just make the stuff happen. I don't know.
Well, again, this is one of those things. Is like, if you hadn't, like, the only reason I was able to connect these fucking dots is because I seen the movie.
So is this the problem that they're assuming you've continued to watch Disney movies even into your adulthood, despite the fact that like, first of all, I barely remembered all the Disney movies the most of the Kingdom Hearts worlds are based on already.
Yeah.
So
no, totally.
Like, I feel like they may be making assumptions about the audience there.
Yeah.
Which is not great.
They also
I'm trying to think. Were there any worlds where I couldn't... I mean, Olympus Coliseum's always been pretty sketchy in terms of outline. Because it's just, here's the hero. Fight monsters in the Coliseum. It's our designated Coliseum world.
Well, actually, guess what? They take that out. Olympus is actually a full-blown world, and there's no fucking Coliseum.
Nice.
Like, Olympus is...
That's great.
Like,
I'm tired of that fucking Coliseum. Even in Birth by Sleep, it's like, you can... Birth by Sleep, it's 4 screens. It's... quote-unquote town near Thebes, which is a town square. It's the outside the Colosseum, then it's inside the Colosseum entrance, and then it's the actual Colosseum map, which is the same thing. Goddamn. At least 2 dramatically improved it by including the underworld, which was super cool, but entirely unrelated to the movie, except for that one scene at the end of the world.
Yeah. The Olympus map now has the city of Thebes. When you get there, it is fucking burning and exploding.
Of course.
Because the Titans are back, and one of them decides to just log fucking lava and rocks and shit.
Cool.
So, yeah, they do try to make an effort.
Well, that's good. They were like, I'm trying to remember, like I said, I barely remember a lot of these Disney movies. But I feel like there were like 4 or 5 Titans in the actual movie. And in Kingdom Hearts, we only ever pick like 2.
I just got done with the bullshit part of having to fly into a whole bunch of fucking fucking mirrors and fight a fucking fight a heartless eight fucking times to save a heart.
Goddamn hearts.
So bullshit.
Also,
bullshit.
yeah. Well, we're getting comments from the peanut gallery
Lich,
here.
that's what it was called.
Which asking if both of us will be talking about the whole game next. What's up? I don't know. I'm only like 8 hours into Dream Drop. That means I still have to watch whatever the cutscenes are on the disc and play the prologue, the 2.8 thing.
Yeah,
so I don't know if I'll be done with 3 by the time we get to next week. But we'll also ask. KHIII's always been a Disney princess. She's an actual fucking princess of heart, and if they're actually using that now, I will be ecstatic. That'll be like 50% of my goals for this game. Is
also Axe,
does KHIII do stuff?
Axe, don't assume like where I am again because I don't want fucking spoilers, right?
Yeah, don't ask. Well, also you're in an open chat that's not spoilers, even though we now have spoiler tags in our Discord, which is super cool. So yeah, don't throw stuff out of there because I am completely unspoiled. I am pure as the driven snow here. Yeah. So if we don't get from your context clues. I just mentioned one of my design hopes for 3 is KHIII does stuff.
See, here's the problem. I think KHIII so far, like throughout the main game, is underutilized because the story is that she and Leia / Axel, because they keep switching between who calls them what.
Well, yeah, I understand that at least because the beauty of the whole nobody fusion thing is that the nobody was the body, so you basically look mostly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, adult Leia looks exactly like Axel, even if they're, almost exactly. I think he didn't have, like, his tattoo.
Yeah, his tattoo's gone. They're off in a secret woods training, and they have 2 scenes where they talk about stuff. It's literally the same location, they're sitting down, and they talk. Okay. And then they show up at the end, and you're like, okay. Is this gonna be another fucking spin-off game that I have to buy? KHIII does some stuff at the end, but like I said, I'm not gonna spoil that for you. But at the same time, I feel like it's kind of cheap. That's like I said. I want. I said the exact same thing.
Well, I mean, I've always been hoping that the Heart of Pure Light thing would actually matter. So if you say that's cheap, I'm like, light. It should actually do something for once. But I mean, she's got a freaking Keyblade, so I was hoping that would be that we activated more. I was very excited when people said that there's obviously a like playable in-action model for her.
Well, I said this might be like I haven't beat the game, but that is true. You do not always just play as Sora. There are 2 battles where you play as Riku. Actually, they're short battles. And this is kind of a spoiler, but I think you'll be okay with. There's also a battle where you fight as Aqua.
Well, I mean, that's I know she's coming back because I think she's the star of the 2.8 preview. Mm-hmm. So we already knew she had like in-engine assets. Oh, and also quite frankly, like we're gonna since I'm gonna talk about Birth by Sleep, and I'm gonna talk about also technically that rule was already broken because Diz has yellow eyes. Axe. I'm not gonna say what he said, but it's also the pointy ears are important to that particular plot point that we don't necessarily want to unpack yet. But
by the way, they called, you know what they called the evil version of Aqua that everyone saw in the trailers, you know, everyone calling it Aquanort?
Mm-hmm.
They call her Anti-Aqua, and I'm like, you guys could have picked something better than that.
You could have done a little better, but that's at least consistent with like, yeah, Axe mentioned the anti-form because you do anti-Sora earlier, so I feel like that's kind of that's the parallel they're trying to draw. It's not that she's necessarily the same team as the enemy, the real Organization 13.
Oh, by the way, fucking Aqua's moveset in game is fucking beautiful.
That's like, great, because Aqua's really interesting to play as in Birth by Sleep. But I was going to mention this. We're probably going to, because I'm going to talk about the whole of Birth by Sleep. We're probably going to spoil some stuff if you're not familiar with it. Hopefully you fucking picked up by now, because otherwise you're going to be lost. Because the conclusion of the whole story arc, but mostly the conclusion of Birth by Sleep, like completely establishes the pre-Kingdom Hearts universe. Like it explains why shit's fucked up. Basically, yeah, it's a proper prequel. As in, it's a proper lead-in. But that was always... the way the 3 different people played is always super interesting, and I really liked Aqua, the way she actually played, because you can... for instance, her dodge is cartwheel, which is always super fun, and I upgraded to Fire Wheel. And her first command style, called Spellbinder, is very, like, acrobatic. She finishes it by doing, like, all those crazy spins as her finisher combo.
Oh, no, that's her final move, and, like, her combo is she does Spellbinder and some Ice Ball. She does a fucking ballerina pirouette. And
that's the Spellbinder finisher. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's amazing. It's really cool. Like, I really liked it. Like, god damn it, I wish.
Yeah, I don't think I got quite as deep into, Aqua and Ven's command sets as I did with Terra, just because Terra was my first run and I was desperately struggling to make good commands a lot of the time, like just slamming shit together. So I don't think I got quite as deep as I did with Aqua and Ven, but I found a few that I liked. And Aqua's moveset and her design as a magic primary character was very interesting.
Yeah, like honestly, I think like Aqua's design is like probably one of my favorites.
Well, I mean, and also honestly, I've just mentioned I'd love for KHIII to do stuff. That's what Aqua's job is. She's the KHIII who does stuff.
Yeah,
like she's super sensitive to like the light and dark stuff. She's in some ways more mature and rounded than her two male friends. But she also has. Well, first of all, everybody's got naivete in Birth by Sleep, but she has a little bit of the I'm the responsible one here. I'm your pretend parent in our friendship. So, which bites her a little bit in the butt, but like I always liked both her character archetype and her actual character design.
Yeah.
So that's another thing which is like that's why I was super excited to actually play Birth by Sleep, is to actually get interested in these characters who matter and are actually super important.
Yeah, like, throughout the three Kingdom Hearts game, there are, like, three distinct trios, I would say. Mm-hmm. There's fucking, there's Sora, Riku,
it's basically the land, sea, sky.
Yeah. Because there's Sora, Riku, KHIII, there's, Xeon, Roxas, and Axel, and then there's Ventus, Aqua, and Terra.
Mm-hmm. Which are,
like,
in a sense, they're all meant to be parallel because 3 is one of the recurring numbers.
Yeah.
It's 3, 7, 13, by the way. Constantly repeated.
Yeah, but, yeah, so, yeah, Aqua was good, but, like, I was talking about the worlds. The Tangled world is a bit better, because they do cut out, like, just a lot of stuff, because, like, honestly, they just say, alright, you need to take this girl to town, alright, let's just go there, walk a bunch, and, you know, Rapunzel will go on, like, on a bit of a journey of discovery and learn about the outside world, which is, it's very wholesome. Like, there are literally mini games, like, during the Rapunzel world, where you have to do things to, like, play, like, I'll say play with, play Rapunzel. Like, one point she runs into a lake and you can run after her and chase her and you can see like a pretty rainbow. You can catch little birds and like bring them over to her. You can follow rabbits and they'll lead you to a treasure. It's a whole bunch of little interesting little stuff that, you know, you feel, you know, you connect with Rapunzel a little bit more.
And I assume, of course, you also take selfies of this.
You can take selfies of this. And you get to the town and like, oh, it's like the festival. It's all cool. This is like, I think the Rapunzel Festival game is the closest thing that we're gonna get in Kingdom Hearts 3 to a rhythm game.
Well, I was deeply worried because for some strange reason they felt the need to make the Disney World and Birth by Sleep minigame mandatory, and every character has a different one. So Terra does racing, which was okay. It took me like 3 tries, but that's just memorizing the course. And Aqua is you have to play Fruit Ball, which seemed very RNG heavy, but wasn't like difficult to play. And then as Ven, you have to play Ice Cream Beat to It's a Small World, which is totally a rhythm and timing game. And the controls are not very smooth, and it sucked. And it has a minimum score. But, which is why I said in our Discord the words which were, hey everybody, if Kingdom Hearts 3 has a mandatory rhythm minigame, warn me now so I can shoot myself.
No, the festival dance is actually really fun. I really enjoyed it.
Well, so it sounds like what Axe is also saying in the chat, and you mentioned wholesome earlier, that the whole game does seem kind of like it is very much written in that Disney vein of like, okay, so stuff's a little fucked up sometimes, but ultimately like there's kind of like good heart and good intention in all of it.
Yeah. But I said like with Rapunzel world, like, if you hadn't seen the movie, you wouldn't know what the fuck's going on. Like, where the fuck did this horse come from? Like, literally, I'm assuming you haven't seen Tangled either.
No.
So, basically,
listen, I haven't watched a lot of CG Disney movies as almost a kind of protest. Like, I watched Big Hero 6 because that was a Marvel co-production, but most of the time I'm like, God, I miss traditional 2D animation.
Yeah. But, so, in Tangled, Ren Flighter is a guy who steals a crown and runs into the woods, who gets chased by the guards, who has a badass horse called Maximus, who is like a fucking bloodhound. And, gives chase. Turns out, and just fucking shows up. Like, I'm not gonna get into it too much, because I guess I don't really need to explain it. But yeah, again, Rapunzel Tangled has that problem of, if you haven't seen the movie, you have no idea what the fuck
I'm
is going on.
sensing a theme here that they made the same assumption about modern Disney movies that they did about Disney classics that have been around for like 100 years, which is problematic. Because yes, of course, I have actually seen Snow White and Cinderella, and I'm pretty sure I saw Sleeping Beauty at some point. I watched her, I was born in the early 90s, so all that, like, golden age of Disney stuff, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Hercules, all that stuff I watched as a kid, and I vaguely remember. But as I've just explained, well, I mean, we've always had this problem that as adults, we're not made of time. Yeah. And as surly teenagers, we don't want to watch baby movies. So, like, there's a lot of this modern Disney stuff that, I don't have any experience with. As a college-age adult, why would I watch Frozen? I got other shit to do in my life. And Lucky obviously gives me that, well, it's actually really good, and that's okay. Okay, so that means I want to watch something. It's still, that's life.
Yeah. No, once we consolidate, we're gonna watch fucking Disney, we're gonna watch Pixar films, I should say.
That's probably Pixar's always been good to me.
Yeah. But so those are worlds where you're like Pirates of the Caribbean, Tangled, and fucking
Oh yeah, that's right. So Pirates
Frozen
is, I'm assuming, the Pirates 3 plot, because that was the last one that did
no
good.
idea what the fuck's going on. But
yeah, that's kind of rough. They skipped an entire movie in there.
Yeah.
Because the Kingdom Hearts 2 Pirates is basically Pirates 1 and then some extra shit at the end, because that's how Kingdom Hearts 2 worked. And then we jump immediately to the beginning of 3. We missed a whole movie in there.
Oh no, fucking 3 starts off as you're in the end of the world after you fall off the edge, and you meet Jack, who's chasing his fucking ship.
Actually,
that's where you.
Oh, well, I have to double check the DVD because my dad really liked those movies, so we own all the first 3 on like DVD and stuff. I should double check when that starts in the movie, because that's at least 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
Well, also Jack's always really. But by the time you get to the ship graveyard in the end of the world, Jack's already really weird. Like, as interesting as that hallucination scene is, it's also he's really fucking crazy by then.
Yeah. And then you fuck off, you explore some caves, you get a ship, and you sail the seas, and then you go, all right, I'm done with this, and you go to the end. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, fucking fighting a Kraken and the fucking Dutchman and a giant whirlpool is hella fucking fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, is there a super metal whirlpool fight?
Yeah, there is.
Of course.
I was like, all right.
So at the same time, on the one hand, it sounds like the writing of the game is not necessarily as tight as it could be, which is kind of shocking considering that 2 was in 2005. It was, 14 years ago when it was first released in Japan.
See, here's the thing, but that's the stories where they're where you're middle of the story. Then there's the worlds where you're after the story. And I think a lot of those are like so much better because they aren't constrained by what the fucking
Well, and honestly, I just mentioned that about 2. Those were always the best worlds were the ones where they did have plot hooks that were which were original, and some of them were a little like dumb and make worky, like, oh, Organization 13's here, they're causing trouble, but at least they covered new ground, and they did so in a Kingdom Hearts way.
Yeah.
The sequel to Pirates that I mentioned is your ship, the other ship, the Interceptor, crashes and explodes because it didn't do that in the actual movie plot. And so you have to deal with the fact that there's a Heartless which has sucked up all the cursed gold and is now a cursed Heartless fucking around causing problems, which is like 100% a Kingdom Hearts thing. The part 2 to the Pride Rock, the Lion King world is Scar's ghost hangs around and turns into an enormous fucking Heartless, which is a great boss battle. Ground shaker.
It was intense. I fucking loved it. Running around the plane. That was great. I remember that.
And you gotta jump on his back, which is basically another map on top of him in terms of size. Oh yeah, no, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. So there are worlds where they just do the worlds do their own fucking thing, like the Toy Story world, the Monstropolis world, and I want to say there's one more, but I can't think. And the San Francisco world. All kind of do their own thing, and it's great. It works. Like in Toy Story World, the toys
they mentioned that it's
like,
explicitly set between 2 and 3.
Yeah. But it's different because these toys have been separated from Andy, and they don't know what to fucking do. They're wondering where their friends is, and they decide to go to this toy store and see if they can fucking find them because they thought they saw them. And it's great. You got this giant fuck off toy store to explore, and it's great. And like fucking Woody and Buzz like confirm their friends. Buzz is actually suspicious of the fucking party, which I think is great. Which I think is always one of those things that always irked me. It's all like, there's a fucking, like, young boy wielding a magical weapon and a fucking duck and a dog cow chilling about, and everyone is fucking okay with this.
Yeah, that's a very hit or miss question. Like I'm playing Dream Drop right now, and so they explicitly mention there's a flashback about it even. Yensid tells you about sleeping worlds, which are worlds that got ate up by darkness. Way back in Kingdom Hearts 1, and even though you rescued their hearts from the end of the world, they didn't quite wake up yet, so you gotta fix them, which explains why they didn't show up yet. So, depending on whose story you're playing, at times, you'll run into people, and they'll actually react to you. When you go to the Hunchback of Notre Dame world, as Sora, Judge Frollo, racist asshole, actually looks Sora up and down and says, You're a fucking dirty gypsy, and I'm gonna explode you or something. And sing about hellfire. By the way, that just once again, spoilers for my talk on Dream Drop. The Hunchback of Notre Dame world is really well done. Like they don't. I thought that they would take a knee on the whole vaguely racist aspects of Frollo. No, he still really fucking hates gypsies, and he is what we would call a character who in modern times would be problematic. But no, they go there in a fucking kids game, and it works and makes sense, and he sets a lot of stuff on fire, and it's actually really good.
Yeah, I think we're almost to Omega's part, because I only think I got like a little bit more. But yeah, so like it's in between. Like it doesn't have like any story implications, and you can enjoy the story as is. Buzz is suspicious of you, which I think is great, and you gradually get over that. There's development along that. Monstropolis, it's after Monsters Inc. It's fun. They're having fucking playdates, and like the fucking factory comes under attack, and you gotta try to get Boo back home. Like that's the entire story of fucking the Monstropolis is you just trying to get to these doors and get Boo back home. And honestly, it fucking worked. It's fucking amazing because there's Heartless around. Randos come back and he's fucking with shit. He turns the factory against you. Shit starts exploding. Fucking people come in and they try to start fighting the fires. Like, it's intense. It's great. It's like I didn't need all the extra baggage of actually trying to be in the fucking story to enjoy this one.
Honestly, that's it. It sounds like I said, that somehow there was some kind of whether it's our own like non-nostalgic perspective, because a lot of that stuff that's in 3 they're talking about has come out since Kingdom Hearts 2. Like Frozen and Tangled would be post KHIII. So I don't know if it's like they're relying on institutional memory that we just don't have as much, or we do, but it very glaringly obviously shows that like this wouldn't make any fucking sense if I hadn't seen that movie. Whereas like me trying to remember the order of events in Sleeping Beauty, where it's like, I mean, I know that guy was there, she was there, that stuff happens, whatever.
Oh, now I think about it, yeah, they did actually use the Hercules story because they did the scene where fucking Zeus gets like sealed into the fucking, lava and ice things of the fucking Titans. And fucking Hercules, once you beat everything, Hercules, like, throws everything into a giant fucking Titan tornado and throws it. So I guess they technically did. Because, Hades was all like, the times as the stars are right, free the Titans. Even though I freed them several times before.
I keep letting them out. And they keep not. Aqua had to fight the Ice Titan. And then Sora had to fight the Ice Titan. And then some more people had to fight the Ice Titan. Goddamn Ice Titan.
and the Earth Titan. I remember you fight the Earth Titan in 1 or 2. I can't remember which one. But
you
no,
also,
this time
you fight
you
the
also
Rock into the Rock Titan.
But guess what? In this one, you can also fight the fucking Wind Titan and the Magma Titan along with the Ice Titan. So, good times.
Nice.
Fight all the Titans.
Yay.
But what was this? Yeah.
Well,
so
yeah,
I guess
what I was just saying was just that I feel like the worlds in previous, at least core entries that were tied to the Disney plot, I at least followed them pretty. They did so in a way that made sense because, like, Beast Castle tells you everything you need to know about the backstory, which is, he's cursed with the Enchanted Rose. He has to find true love, but also the rose, so, like, he's weird. But also, it's different because Zaldin is there from the start, like, poking Beast a lot.
Yeah.
So it kind of, like, adds an actual drive to the story and reason for you to explore everything. Mulan's actually really well written to fight, what's-his-face, Shan Yu, and the whole thing, but it also skips a chunk of the setup, and it works because they established that you knew Mushu already.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like when they've done that and it's worked, it's usually because it wasn't a big deal. I don't know, I guess Atlantica's been like that, because as much as it's annoying in 1, that's a completely original story, basically, which actually is okay, like, writing-wise, it's just a really fucking annoying map. The actual Atlantica world in 2 is just the actual Little Mermaid, but told in rhythm game form, but it's that the plot's not the problem with that world.
Alright. And so the last world is Stanford Tokyo, which is Big Hero 6, which is post Big Hero 6. Which is I think makes it work. Everyone, like, the whole gang's there.
Right?
Fred
and all the characters are established.
Yep, all the characters are established, and you get a feel for what they're like immediately. Like, even I've seen Big Hero 6, so I can't say for sure. But you see these characters, and you're like, oh, I know someone like this. And you can just,
X just commented a little while ago when we were talking about that, it made him want to watch Big Hero 6, so maybe it actually does a good intro level to it.
Yeah, it does. Fred is still fucking amazing. Like, I wonder if they actually got the same voice actor for him, because he is like,
I don't mean, Kingdom Hearts has always been really good about getting
I don't know,
voice actors.
I don't know, because you can definitely tell that some of these voice actors are not the same as their original.
Well, yeah, some of them you had problems with. That was the thing that was in the recoded cutscenes. You go to the Wonderland level, and immediately you're like, this. No offense to this woman playing Alice, but she isn't even trying to sound like the actual, because they actually got that woman back to play Alice in the original Kingdom Hearts, and so, like, I'm like, listen, you're not necessarily bad, but you're not even trying to sound like her. Like, you're just doing young girl British accent.
Like, honestly, I can say that for, like, I feel like a lot of characters in this game, as I don't know, like, this might be me being jaded because I listen to Japanese a fucking lot, but I don't know. So this might be me. So I'm not going to say yay.
Also, I think that just depend. I think it might just depend on who they get, because if it's probably really annoying, especially since there's been a lot of, actually, hold on, wait a minute. Did the difference between the Screen Actors Union and video game companies ever actually get ironed out? I remember that they were going to strike, but and that some companies were being, like, blacklisted, but I don't actually remember how that turned out. Like, nobody talked about that story since that happened. So I don't think that Square was on that problem, because, I mean, like I said, they're mostly through Disney Interactive, so they have the mass media project of Disney behind them. But I wonder if the whole video game thing, like, the ongoing industry development affects the English side, because I could see how there could be cost or, like, production concern or union concerns with, like, okay, so we need you to play this Disney character for, like, 10 minutes of recording lines total, because you're in one world and you're only in, like, half of it at the time, as opposed to, like, the core cast, who I've always thought is pretty good. Like, I'll talk more. I've mentioned before that I think as a voice actor, Haley Joel Osment's really evolved a lot, and he's super killing it. But, like, I wonder if maybe that there are, like, amount of time concerns.
But, yeah, maybe. Like I said, the voice acting for me has been up and down. Like, there's sometimes when I can't stand the fucking voices. I'm like, oh my god, make this be over. or it's like, oh no, like, oh man, this sounds actually really good. Like,
I've been hearing a lot of tweets about people complaining about Donald, which I'm not sure about. Like,
Donald is Donald. Like, I have like
yeah,
two people
I've seen tweets where like Donald's incomprehensible even with subtitles. I'm like, have you ever listened to Donald Duck?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, no, he's
like,
not.
honestly,
You can totally understand what the fuck he's saying. But also, have you heard the voice? It's a thing.
It's a thing. Like, honestly, like, I'll tell you right now, two people I do not have any voices whatsoever is Donald and Goofy. Like, they are the same as they always have been, and you know what? It is a rock in this fucking stormy seas of talent.
Yeah, listen, when Disney actually dips into their system and grabs an actual voice actor, that's an actual, like, staff voice actor, like, it's a historical person, like I said, like I'm pretty sure they got the actual actress who played, Alice, even though it had been several decades and she was, very much older. They actually got her back to play Alice in Kingdom Hearts 1. Ariel's voice actress in 1 and 2 was the actual one from the movie. Genie wasn't Robin Williams, obviously, but it was Dan Castellaneta who played him in the TV show and the Return of Jafar movie. So, like, at times, Disney has actually gone in there and gotten either the actual actors who did them or really solid impersonators. And then sometimes we get the guys who did the voice acting for the Pirates World in Kingdom Hearts 2. Which in Japan, they got the actual dub actors in. In America, not so much.
Yeah, so, as I said, the voice acting, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything because
voice acting is also another one of those things that I always think is hit or miss in Kingdom Hearts. It's always been that way. Like, while we can hope that they fix some stuff at the same time, I am not shocked or necessarily disappointed that we still have the same problems. Maybe I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not, like, upset that certain things haven't gotten ironed out. I'm like, hey, whatever.
Yeah, like, fucking San Fran Tokyo, or San Fran Okio, as they say it. I don't know. Sounds weird off my tongue. But I think it probably has some of the best voice acting, like, all around.
In that case, that probably does mean that they actually got the actual voice actors from that movie.
Yeah, like, Honey Lemon still says hero, like, you know, in that, like, in that, you know, in her own specific way, like, because that was one of those things that, you know, just like, oh yeah, it's like as I said, Fred is very Fred, like, oh my god.
It's good. That's gonna be good for me to revisit those characters because I really like that movie. That was a very solid, like, Disney Marvel collab.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's San Francisco, but I like San Fran Tokyo.
Yeah, there's no T in it though.
I know. I still say it that way because
you have the same pronunciation problem that my dad did watching that movie. You were such an old man, Lucky.
Yeah, I know. I know it's wrong, but that's how it naturally goes to me. Yeah, and like it was good because like Big Hero 6, like they've already dealt with like the microbots. Something like the microbot comes back and Heroes are like, oh, what the fuck is this? He explains like how his brother was, and they don't go into no big flashback. You're just literally sitting on top of a bridge eating ice cream, and the iconic scene, and he's talking about his brother. I'm like, it's good. I like it. Now I'm here at the final world, and excuse me, I have so many goddamn questions. What the fucking happening? Why is there so much Deus Ex Machina? Is there gonna be a final save point? They're gonna let me know, or am I locked into the end now? I don't fucking know.
There's probably gonna be at least one save point because I always had that. I had that concern in 2, but you do actually do a thing. But hey, maybe next week we can finally solve our over/under on how long the final boss takes.
Yeah. Yeah, right now I'm in a labyrinth, I guess is the word to say it. Like, I don't know.
Whatever. I'm sure that in a week you will have definitely completed it, so.
Yeah, probably. Like, I was playing it like I was waiting for you to eat dinner.
I'm gonna be honest, I hope that they'll do the smart thing that, like, Birth by Sleep did, which is after you beat the game, you can make a game complete save and go back to that, rather than needing to manually save. Like, a pre-game save, which was kind of frustrating about 2. Not that there wasn't a big obvious, this is very definitely the final battle, you should save now.
Oh yeah, Axe remembered the name from it. I'm at the Skein of Severance. Hold on,
I gotta Google what a Skein is.
It's like a fucking...
A length of thread or yarn, loosely coiled and knotted.
Yep.
So, like the plot. I mean, some people, I think, make a bit of a bigger to-do about how complex the plot of Kingdom Hearts is. But at the same time, it also really is that complex, just because it did take a lot of games, which were not numerical sequels, to actually sort the... And honestly, I feel kind of bad about that. Like, I'm playing Dream Drop. Dream Drop really should have been classed as 3. Especially with all the systems, at least that are in the HD version, I feel like this was an actual honest-to-God. It's an actual honest-to-God sequel. It's not a retread, and it covers new content ground, and it builds the meta plot. And you could have totally marketed it and built it as the actual Kingdom Hearts 3, but they didn't for some reason.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, like one of the big problems, I think the overarching problem with Kingdom Hearts 3 right now is they're trying to tie up every fucking end that they can into one game.
Which probably is why you're running into that, like, Deus Ex problem, because that is, in fact, how you solve a lot of lingering plot threads, is you throw a lot of coincidence and requirement, and it just slams everything together.
Yeah. So, like, overall, I think, like, the fact that they have so many games that are all connected in some fashion...
But holy shit, if they actually managed to resolve the quote-unquote arc of the story, whether or not they can do more work in the universe afterward, but if they actually manage to, like, actually clunk it together and round it out so that these things are resolved, that'd be great. Because, boy, howdy, listen, for me, it's a lot of work to get there. I would love for more of this stuff to pay off.
From what I've heard, like, I don't know my friends, everyone's saying, like, the resolution hits super fucking hard, and it's full of fills. Like, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so, I think it was Qua, one of our patrons we mentioned, who actually said that they completed it, like, a couple days after, and were like, I need to lie down on the floor now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so to me, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
That means there's an emotional beat in there somewhere that hits.
Yeah.
And you actually shocked me a lot when you said that the emotional beats hadn't hit you yet. So, I feel like there must be a very big finish.
There has to be. Speaking of emotional beats, so there was, you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean 3. There was a great moment in, the Pirates world, because you know when, fucking Davy Jones, stabs Will?
Yes.
Sora's there for that scene, and he fucking screams, and he just jumps on fucking Davy Jones and starts punching him in the head.
Nice! There's my boy.
Yeah, like, that, like, I'm like, oh my god, Sora does actually have feelings.
No, he does. I feel like, his positivity is his way of coping of everything.
Yeah.
And also, there's a very great... Listen, there's a lot of metaphysical questions, which I think 3D may or may not answer, but there's always been a concern. Semi-spoilers for 3D, but I'm working my way through the Pinocchio world now, Prankster's Paradise. On the Sora side, you bump into Xemnas, who does his cheeky beaky talking to you. He's let me say the villain voice actors in Kingdom Hearts have always been great. Whether that's
I always like the voice actors for Xemnas and Anthem.
Yeah. Like I said, I think at least in the retreading Kingdom Hearts parts of Kingdom Hearts 2, Richard Epcar, I think it is, who replaced Billy Zane because he got in some legal trouble. He did not quite bring the impact that Anthem's classic submit lines, brought. But the actual voice acting for like Xemnas, for Seeker of Darkness, for a lot of these characters is all top notch all the time. Braig/Zigbar's voice actor is also great just because he's a huge douchebag and that character is a huge douchebag, so it works. Like that's both his vocal attitude and also his characterization, so it's great. But Xemnas comes out and he talks to Sora and he's like, "Ooh, but you're just like a nobody. I'm gonna disappear into darkness again because there's like 7 worlds here, so you got to get through them all before that makes sense." But at the same time, it's like, actually, yeah. Here's a deep metaphysical question because Sora was isn't he technically a good Heartless for a big chunk of like Chain of Memories and late game Kingdom Hearts because that's how Roxas exists and the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? And the game's like, I don't fucking know. So I like if Sora's a little weird because he has been through some interesting metaphysical states, I'm not shocked.
I mean, how much memory loss has he got? Like,
okay,
how many...
so Naminé completely fuckled his memory in Chain of Memories, like completely, so much that she said, "Hey, you got to go into a coma so I can unfuck your memories." Then she completely unfucked them, but that means he lost all of his memory of Chain of Memories, which is a huge plot point and encoded / recoded, and so he got them all back. But also inside his memories are also like the suppressed memories of Roxas and Xion and maybe Ven. I'm not entirely sure. Listen, he's got a lot of problems with his fucking memory going on in there.
Yeah.
Sora is like Sora's almost like Dragon Ball Z abridged Piccolo. He's got a lot of people rattling around there inside him.
Yeah.
So if he's sometimes a little weird, I don't mind. But his writing in 1 and 2 is very solid.
Yeah, he's just a happy-go-lucky kid out like to explore worlds, find his friends, and maybe save everything.
And he's very serious about his friends when it comes to them, which is why I think it makes sense that he's jumping in, because he after two games worth of worlds, he'd probably say Will is his friend, because Sora's literally everybody's friend. You bump into Neku for like 5 minutes in Traverse Town in Dream Drop, and he's like, "Well, I'm not your partner, but maybe I can just be your friend, And Neku's like, "That's not that easy." And Sora's like, "I don't know, I think it is if you do it that way." And I'm kind of like, you're not wrong, kid. If you actually just do it that way, it's not that hard.
That is Sora's power. He just makes friends with everybody. It's a source of his power.
And it works too. He is actually, honestly, very friendly and personable, and he loves to help. Which I think, honestly, post Kingdom Hearts 1, that makes sense. Like, in 1, it's kind of like, okay, you have this Keyblade. That'll be the way to find your friends, but also it'll prevent disasters like your island from happening. And that's why Riku is like, has a foot to stand on and being critical of him, because he's like, "Hey, Sora, are you actually doing the work to like rescue KHIII and me and go back home?" And he's like, "Yes, but also I have some other thing to do because of this fucking magic key." But like, that gets him in the mindset of just helping people to help people. And theoretically, I mean, he's looking for Riku, but at the same time, he knows he will bump into him if he just keeps searching. And with KHIII safe at home, why not help? And honestly, in Dream Drop, where so technically he's going through the test, right? It's the Mark of Mastery exam. But while there is obviously a meta plot going on, when it starts anyway, his home's not at stake, his friends are all where they're supposed to be, he got separated from Riku for some reason, but whatever. So, why not help people? It just lets him be really helpful. So that's always a really positive aspect to him. Like, how his character is super interesting to see, like, how he does mature. Like, in 1, he's very, "What the fuck is going on? What do I do here?" kind of stuff. Like he has no idea what he's doing or how to do stuff. In 2, he's much more overconfident, and it seems like in trailers for like 3, like the shouting at Xemnas, Roxas does exist. He seems like he's finally found his footing, kind of like he's not overconfident, but he also has experience. Mm-hmm. At the same time, like I said, I do feel like the franchise has a huge problem where they do keep feeling the need to emphasize how innocent he is and like use his Kingdom Hearts 1 design all the time. Which is really weird, because, like I said, to me, as much as the story beats in 1 are classic, all the stuff in between in 1 is not the greatest. Like, 2 is much better in that regard.
I don't know, like, there's definitely, like, I don't know, I feel like, I don't know, I haven't got to the fucking, like, final end, so I haven't got the emotional feels, but Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 definitely had some, like, big emotional moments.
No, they do. That's like I said, like, the core story beats, like, I will always remember some of those scenes. As much as the dialogue is kind of stilted, but, like, the confrontation with Riku Ansem in Hollow Bastion, that's always a big winner. Actually, honestly, all of Hollow Bastion, because that's original content. But all those cutscenes are big beats. That's where you get "My friends are my power," and there's no way you're taking KHIII's heart. The stabbing himself with the Keyblade thing, which is also super iconic.
That's super iconic, because I always remember how, like, Sora looks to his friends and smiles, and then stabs himself. I'm like, oh my god, this 12-year-old kid just stabbed himself.
But because that was the thing to do, because he had to let KHIII's heart free, and that's Sora's Space Jesus, which makes sense for Disney.
Yeah.
But that's what he is. He's the messianic figure. He's all good all the time.
Yeah, and like I said, like Kingdom Hearts 2, fucking, I guess my summer vacation is over. I will always cry.
I mentioned this before when I was replaying it. The prologue is still amazing. It is still such a perfect piece of writing, and it's a build up and a culmination in a couple of ways.
And see, that's the thing. Like I'm having with 3. Like 3, I haven't felt anything necessarily iconic. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, there's been like a couple like good scenes and stuff. There's a few good fights, but nothing's like, oh my god, the scene's gonna stay with me fucking forever. Not yet.
Yeah,
anyway.
maybe they put all that in the end.
Maybe they did. That's what I'm hoping for.
But like, one had a lot of. There were also some other. The stuff at the island is always like super iconic. All of Ansem's speeches are very. I mean, they keep fucking repeating them, so obviously they stick with you. This world has been connected. Blah blah blah. Darkness. I mean, once again, Birth by Sleep spoilers, but when you beat Terra's story and Xehanort takes over his body, he gives the fucking Tied to the Darkness speech. And you're like, on the one hand, that's chilling, because holy shit. At the same time, it's like, goddamn. Again, always with this speech. And then in 2, there's a lot of moments that are so... A lot of them are like Roxas / Sora, but like Roxas and Riku fighting on the skyscraper.
Mm-hmm.
My summer vacation's finally over when Roxas gets to meet his other. Axel gets a lot of very good moments.
God, the final battle when you finally meet up with Riku again and you unleash like all that power.
Oh yeah, no, the final boss sequence is great.
Like I said, I can't talk about 3
intro
because I haven't got there yet.
The intro to Dream Drop is actually really good because it basically replays the entire story up to this moment in like full motion HD, like the whole thing, right? Like it's sequences on the Destiny Islands and all the way, and it runs through Chain of Memories, it runs through 2 and into like other stuff, and it's great because it shows all the final confrontations, including the final moments they dodge all the lasers, the double Keyblade action to like the co-op. Also the ending of Kingdom Hearts 2 had a very important sequence where briefly Sora is trapped and you play as Riku also again, which they don't do much with, but it's still super cool.
So one last thing I want to talk about for Kingdom Hearts 3, so then Omega can get to his, because how long have we been going?
Hour 25.
Yeah, like literally hour 10 of that has been fucking me talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. Is the minigame. There's a fuck ton of minigames in Kingdom Hearts 3, and while I like a lot of them, like, I kind of wish that there was more to them. Like, Ratatouille, Remy, known as Little Chef in game, adds something that I think is really cool to the game, which is the cuisine system. Basically, you go to Little Chef's Bistro in Twilight Town. You bring ingredients, you make some food. It's a stupid simple minigame. I mean, stupid fucking simple. It hurts how simple it is. You literally, like, you say, alright, I'm gonna make, like, 10 things. You crack 1 egg, you're fucking done. That's how it works. And then you get these really fancy French dishes, and then you can assemble a meal. They assemble a meal which give you bonuses for like half an hour. You can get like +2 strength, +2 like magic, all that additional health, and you can get like special commands. Axe says they get the minigames get hard later, but I've only like not done like 2 meals, and I've done most of them on my first fucking try. So,
I honestly that's another like overall franchise thing is like usually you get like a little bit of minigame action, and then if you want to turn it into a whole thing, you can go deep dive and play all the segments, and it can get pretty tough. But that's if you actually enjoy the play.
As I said, the thing about the cuisine minigame, about the Ratatouille minigame, is it actually has like out of minigame effects, because as I said, like, you assemble the meal, you activate the meal, you get like +40 health, +40 MP, +2 to strength, defense, and magic for like half an hour. Really fun. In Frozen, they have the sled boarding segments where you literally go down a mountain, You go, collect experience and money and stuff. Maybe outrun an avalanche. Let's see here. Trying to think of other mini games. There's the festival mini game in Rapunzel. I like it. I go back to it and just do it just because I fucking enjoy it. And
Well,
that's what I think is it's good. Like a lot of the mini games are just fun to do.
That's good.
And
that's always a good aspect when they're repeatable and entertaining. Like we've mentioned before about how much we fucking love Command Board.
Yeah. I wish they had more Command Board, but they don't.
That's okay. One thing I realized that as entertaining as Command Board is, I also wasted a lot of time doing Command Board in my Birth by Sleep playthrough when I really didn't need to. Like, it's good when you have a lot of little commands you can level up later, and you're just like, fuck, I got a ton of stuff to level up, but at the same time, depending on how you set it, you can end up sucking up a lot of time doing basically nothing.
Yeah. And I said, there's been, there's no, dedicated Coliseum, but I think there's, this Battlestar system thing at the end. Oh, and there's something that, is not a mini game, which is, but still, kind of important. The ship you get, the Leviathan, you level that up by collecting white crabs, which are scattered across the islands, which can be hidden in everything. It's kind of funny, but kind of entertaining, because you want to go to every island and, break open everything and dive into everything to find these fucking crabs. There's the sequence during the end game where you go to this particular world, and you have to collect copies of Sora for reasons.
Not shocked. There's a lot of fucking Sora flying around.
Yeah.
Honestly, these stuff aren't spoilers to me because I could totally see that happening. That's not a shock to me, any of the stuff you've said so far.
Yeah.
I'm not spoiled for it because, like I said, we've talked about this. Sora's led a very fractured existence, poor kid.
Yeah, so you have to collect 111 Soras, and
that's great.
No, and here's the crazy thing. It's all on this giant cube, and you get to rotate the cube because some of the Soras are running up walls, some something like that, and you only have to get 100. Axe just mentioned this, but I actually got 333 because you get additional health if you collect extra Soras. I'm like, I got so much Sora body, I have extra health now. But it was still fun, and I originally, I was just like, oh my god, I have to collect 111 of these, what the fuck am I doing with my life? But then I'm like, no, I'm into this now. I'm gonna run up along all these fucking walls, glide to Sora, grind for Sora. I was like, no Sora will escape me. It was super fun. I kind of wish there was something more like that, where, you have to spin a cube, and it was timed or something. That's not how I feel about the minigames. I enjoy them enough that I wish that there was more to them. I don't think they're bad as is, but I want more.
Honestly, I feel like that's a good sign, because
yeah,
they didn't overstay their welcome.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was saying. No, that's something I could definitely say. No minigame overstays its welcome. Honestly, I feel like some only came in there, gave your butt a squeeze, and left with a cheeky wink.
And let's be real. We just talked about how we implied anyway that we don't necessarily enjoy Kingdom Hearts 2 Atlantica with all of its mandatory musical numbers, and there's a lot of them, and you can't get them all done at once. You have to get them done over the course of the story. That overstayed its welcome.
Yeah,
that took a few too many musical numbers and a few too many visits to get out of the way.
But yeah, so like I said, the minigames are good. I said I feel like the Ratatouille minigame is a little short. You literally complete whatever it is in have 5 seconds, and you're and it's really interesting because you have to do the whole things with the controllers and gently pressing things. If you want to slice a vegetable or a fruit, you have to rapidly do left stick down to copy, then you have to do right stick down to move the fruit so you can grab another. You do that with 2 vegetables and you're done, and they each take a couple seconds. So it's da 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 slice da 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 slice done. That's the minigame. I'm I don't know. I feel like they could have put extra steps into preparation and all that stuff. But other than that, it's it's fun. Honestly, and I just Ratatouille is one of my fucking favorite Pixar movies.
Yeah, that's a great fucking film.
Yeah. Axe says if you ain't perfect, you will fail the hardest ones. As I said, there's only 2 dishes that I haven't done, and I've only failed. Out of all the dishes I have made, I've only failed twice. That's because, and it was specifically with the eggs.
Goddamn eggs.
Damn eggs.
That sounds super fun.
Is
that all your thoughts out? You think?
Yeah, I have more thoughts, but they're actually like story and spoiler specific.
We'll warn everybody. Actually, you know what? This could be really useful. We might do a dedicated Let's Talk Kingdom Hearts 3 and actually do like a sit down, sketch out some notes, and talk about some different aspects of the game once we're both completely done with it. But I'm sure we will have more story related thoughts on the next What's Up.
Yeah.
But basically, if you were done as we're at over an hour and 30.
I told you I was going to talk.
No, I got it. I'm just letting you know about the time passage. I figure we'll take a short intermission and then we'll kind of rewind and get into my thoughts on some of the story so far stuff I've been doing.
Lucky's final thoughts so far. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a mixed bag of a lot of ideas, a lot of executive direction, and has a lot of heart, but in the end, I just say it has a lot of heart.
It hasn't. What you're saying is that it hasn't hit you yet that this is like the lauded Kingdom Hearts 3, the actual conclusion to all these fucking games, and like we said, like the first one came out in like 2001, so like nearly 20 years of a franchise. You don't feel like this is the payoff yet. Yeah,
but expect more.
But its heart's in the right place. Which honestly, I give Creative Works a lot of credit for having their heart in the right place.
Yeah. Like, I can't say this is a bad game. Like, I honestly cannot. But it's something... Like,
but is it the Kingdom Hearts 3 that you wanted right after 2 came out?
Yeah.
Which is...
No, it's not.
And maybe, that could be on us, raised expectations. Maybe that game never could have existed. But at the same time, I feel like it could have.
Yeah. Anyway, intermission?
Okay, so we're back from our break. You didn't notice anything, audience, but we took a little time. Stretch our legs. Drink some water, freshen up. As you should do, by the way, if you're ever doing anything for an extended period of time, like playing Kingdom Hearts games. So let us continue my saga of playing the story so far, and my ongoing quest to beat all the goddamn Kingdom Hearts games and play Kingdom Hearts 3. So last week I was quagmired in Birth by Sleep. I was not kind to Birth by Sleep, and honestly, even after beating it, Birth by Sleep's not great. I will say one of the advantage of the fact that it's split into basically the 3 stories, which are the same story, just slightly displaced in time, is that you can get that game down to a science. So, Terra took me a little over 20 hours, I got Ven done in about 15, and I got Aqua down in about 10. So I knew what the fuck I was doing by the time I got there. Like I said, though, I think I didn't quite explore all of the possible cool commands you can get as Aqua and Ven, but I got a decent amount. So, once you get the game's gameplay paradigm with, like, leveling your commands and melding them and all that, you get a better grasp for the game. I did feel, as I got later onto it in my future playthroughs, I did kind of feel like I was kind of burdened by, well, now I gotta go back to this command I don't care about, or that I'm not using to refute to get this, to meld into a different thing, kind of like resetting myself. And sometimes you can obviously buy the commands back if you've lost one, but you still have to level them to meld them. So, like, I did feel like I was kind of like burned with grinding old commands I didn't care about. Do bless the community, though, for teaching me about EXP Walker. That was my number one priority in each run, was to fuse something with EXP Walker, because that makes grinding way easier. But yeah, I think the game system was too opaque, which hurt it. It was too hard to figure out. Like, one of the advantages of Dream Drop, which I will talk about later, but 3D has a similar system with the command decks, but you get new commands and abilities by leveling up your spirits and spending points to basically they've got a sphere grid or a zodiac board or whatever you want to call it. It's a very Final Fantasy ability table you work through, but that's a lot easier to do because you can look at all the nodes except for some which are like secret until you buy them out. But for the most part, you can look at a spirit and say, "Oh, this guy's going to give me Fire Firaga." And it's going to give me, like, Fire Boost and Fire Screen and stuff. So you can look at it and understand what you're doing. Birth by Sleep does not have that without a guide. You cannot figure out what some of your stuff is without a guide to tell you where to go, or lots of trial and error after you have unlocked all the recipes. And by the way, you can only get some of the recipes, the, like, Mega recipe, by playing the fucking arena for medal points, which means you got to mandatory play video games. which I was not about. I was in a hurry to get out of Birth by Sleep, because I knew Dream Drop would take some time. That said, honestly, so we talked about, like, how the stories of different Kingdom Hearts worlds interact with, like, the Disney story. So for some of the worlds that comes up in Birth by Sleep, like, telling them in 3 parts does it really well. Like, the first 3 worlds, which are Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty, every character has, like, a different step on that journey of that movie, but it works a lot better. That are a lot more directed. Like, the order of in timeline-wise is the same way I played them, because it's basically Terra leaves first, then Ven, and then Aqua, and that's basically how the stories go. Like, some of the initial worlds you arrive at first before them, just because the way the game reveals certain worlds, like, but ultimately it's like, Aqua's usually the last node in the story, Ven's somewhere in the middle, and Terra's usually the first, which makes sense because he's kind of the oldest, so he's kind of the one everybody's chasing. But that works out pretty good. I actually honestly really like the characters. Like, they're pretty well written. We've talked before about how I like both Aqua's character archetypes and her design elements. And gameplay as her is really fun. I really cut loose on I was like, there were times when I had, like, no quote-unquote attack commands. It was all magic commands, and it worked for her. A lot of real fun stuff, you know, Deep Freeze, Ice Barrage. She has, like, triple Faraga and triple Blizzaga. No triple Thunder. That didn't happen until Dream Drop, which I'm confused about. But Thundaga's already really good, so there's that. A command I really loved for all of them, but I think only Aqua gets the most evolved version, is the Mine ability. So you can get, like, Mine Shield, Mine Square, and then Aqua gets Seeker Mine, where it creates these little explosives on the ground, and Seeker Mine actually chases enemies who get too close. Oh, I love those. That was great when enemies were all up in your grill. So, like, actually exploring some of the commands is really fun. Like I said, I just wish it wasn't so opaque. That said, I think I have two problems with the design of Birth by Sleep. The first off is, so obviously this game was known it was going to be told in 3 stories, and you'd have to basically beat the game 3 times to clear it. Now, obviously, they have different characters, they have different individual stories and different character arcs, which works for them. But I feel like in order to not make the game super long, some people's stories were basically truncated or shortened. It means stuff happens very fast or without a lot of establishment. So all of the characters feel a little fast moving, and like I said, like, everybody feels a little naive just because there's no fucking about with your motivation. It's, you have to move to the next plot point because everybody's story needs to be like 10 to 20 hours basically. Depending on how much work they're doing. So characters as characters move very fast, and some worlds are very minimally utilized. Like Terra's visit to Maleficent's to the Sleeping Beauty and to the Dwarf Woods are super short. You get like 3 maps out of like 6 or 7, some of which are huge, which Terra doesn't touch at all. And it's very weird, but also, like I said in the last time, despite the fact that everybody goes on about, oh, Terra's got this darkness inside him, they're feeding the dark fires, Terra's also a huge goober. Like, he is a solid good boy, and honestly, he never would have been a problem if Master Xehanort wasn't an asshole, a huge douchebag who caused literally all of our problems. Well, okay, no, Maleficent caused some problems, and she's still around, but yeah. Those two, between the two of them, are the real reasons why everything bad happens in Kingdom Hearts. Because Maleficent's stupid obsession with power, which doesn't necessarily make sense because that's not her character in the original story, and Master Xehanort is really obsessed with the Keyblade, which they actually, I'm glad they explained that in Ventus, how everybody knows that's a Greek letter. Like, that's an actual thing that Ven is told, and it's like, oh, wow, thanks for actually making that make sense, because that doesn't make any fucking sense when you suddenly start talking with that little squiggly X in Terra's story. But, like I said, so the characters feel very truncated. They very suddenly pinion from thing to thing. Like with Aqua, people are constantly like, ooh, Terra's not as good and friendly as you think. So every fucking world, all the villains are like, Terra, and she's like, no, that's not true. Or is it? She does this every fucking world. And and she's not wrong, but also it's a huge pain. Like, it's kind of kind of dull to see the story basically hit the same beat over and over again. Ven's kind of the same way, where he's just like constantly trying to catch up to Terra because, ooh, Terra's gonna be different because the evil me told me that, but why would I trust that asshole? So that's a problem. I think that all the character writing is very truncated, but yeah, you do have to play everybody to get all the scenes because, like, actually, I was shocked playing as Aqua. I was like, oh, there's a whole nother boss fight in here that I didn't even realize would happen because I had played through Ven's story previously. So it's like, oh, he's doing all this internal stuff with the being merged and the Keyblade or Kai blade. I'm glad that Master Xehanort explains that may or may not be. They choose a more Eastern pronunciation of key to actually like make it rhyme, even though that the actual Greekish pronunciation of that is more like Kai, the actual Greek letter they use. But there was a whole sequence where Aqua fights Vanitas on the outside with the Keyblade and Mickey helping her out that I didn't even realize happened because I was like, oh, I was doing that on the inside. That's neat. You still surprised me a little bit, Birth by Sleep.
I think that's one of the strengths of Birth by Sleep.
Everybody's story really is different, and you do not get the whole picture until you play everybody.
It's like 3 parts of one whole. Yeah, it really is.
It really is. Like, for instance, you would think there's a whole huge, like clusterfuck. Like just playing Terra, Terra accidentally unlocks Aurora's heart, and then he does nothing about it other than decide I won't be fooled again. But it's not until Ven and Aqua show up that you actually deal with Ven deals with Maleficent in that he weakens her and he actually breaks the barrier. But then Aqua comes up behind him and she actually fixes the problem. Like, Ven frees Aurora's heart, but you don't actually complete the plot of the movie where Maleficent is struck down by the prince until Aqua shows up and, like, follows through the whole thing. And it's actually really cool. Like I said, it's well used. The problem is that it's the same 3 stories that are all in Pardalit, but when the characters mesh, boy howdy, that's repetitive. And there's almost always, like, a little scene at the end, so I was kind of scared to skip some of these scenes, because I'm like, when does the actual new information really start? But yeah, no, it really gets repetitive a lot. Not as bad as I think the next title I'm going to talk about did, or seemed like. But yeah, it feels like very much it was designed knowing that it was on a portable platform, and that hurt it. Like, the gameplay was too grindy, it was too much, oh, you're just going to pick this up on a bus ride or train ride and play for like 10 minutes at a time and get a little bit done. And the actual plot portion was shortened up to be like, we don't want to annoy people with the fact they got to play this 3 times, but there was still repetitive stuff in there, which annoyed me. But like I said, the actual conclusion and all the stories, and I really did like all the characters at the end. Even if I did think, like I said, their writing was a little shorthanded, like Terra's climax is actually really cool, fighting Master Xehanort and, like, coming to terms, and then you fight Proto Xehanort Xemnas type at the end as his armor, which is the Lingering Will boss in 2, which is really cool. Because I think that really does sum up Terra's character arc, because he has to figure out what he's fighting for and why, and, like, he has a lot of resolve that solidifies itself in the fact that even though his body and heart got hijacked, his will just still stands up and he's like, no, fuck you, Master Xehanort, I'm gonna still fight you. Whatever the fuck happens with Ven is really important for a lot of reasons. Though I still have questions. When you play the prologue, Ven has the whole dive into heart thing, and you see the stained glass windows, and his is broken because Master Xehanort stole his darkness to make Vinny. They say it Vanitas, but in my mind, I think that having taken 2 semesters of Latin, by the way, I always want to say Vanitas, but that might just be a voice acting thing.
I think I say that in 3, actually.
They might. Way. That would be a switch up. Maybe that's a like a research thing that, like, you know, after like 10 years or whatever, they realized, oh, this is pronounced a little more dramatically. This isn't like a casual pronunciation of a Latin word. But he hears the mysterious voice in his heart, which Sora also does, and it fixes his heart with, like, I still have no idea who the fuck or what that is. I don't know who the tutorial voice is in Kingdom Hearts. Ever. I still don't know. Because it happens in Birth by Sleep, and I don't think that makes sense to me. Like, people are always like, isn't that voice King Mickey? Or isn't that voice, like, Ven talking to Sora in his heart because their hearts are connected or some dumb thing? Which is why Roxas looks exactly like Ven, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. But then Ventus hears the fucking voice. What does that make sense? Are the keys talking to him? Is it the fucking keys? But no, like, everybody's impactful. I do feel kind of like, while they do kind of explain that Aqua's has a mission that she's gonna be doing. She's gotta like be Ventus's light and look for Terra and all that stuff. That kind of explains why she doesn't show up in Kingdom Hearts and 1 and 2, even though technically I feel like that would be her job. And the story is also very careful to make sure that Mickey never meets Terra face to face, because that would ruin some shit in the future. Because he meets Ansem's apprentice Xehanort. So yeah, they do a very good role at like actually covering that up. But boy howdy, it's impactful, but it also got a little annoying. I will say though, talking about original content, the climax of that game is great. The whole Keyblade Graveyard is so. They use the remix of the music from the original Secret movie of 2. Can't remember what the thing has a special name for the scene that I don't remember, but it's that piece of OST music that's like remixed, and it's so good. And then the action and stuff, it's a really good sequence. It falls flat in a lot of ways. I think it's not as polished as it should be. And then I watched Recoded. Ooh, boy howdy, am I glad that I did not have to play Recoded, because I said this in our Discord. I was watching the cutscenes and I felt like this is starting to get a little soul sucking, and I'm just watching this. So I think if I understand the cutscenes correctly, to beat Recoded, you have to play Kingdom. Lucky, let me phrase it this way. You know, in Chain of Memories, you have to basically play Kingdom Hearts again.
Yeah,
only with extra story bits in between, and it's just you have to replay it once. If I'm understanding Recoded right, you have to replay Kingdom Hearts 1 3 times.
What?
And one of them is sort of as the Castle Oblivion, but sort of not. But like, there's multiple moments where you keep revisiting a small slice, because it's not the full Kingdom Hearts worlds, because they can't get Deep Jungle back because there's some problem with Edgar Rice Burroughs' estate and the Tarzan IP. Which, by the way, is why Deep Jungle and Tarzan have never reappeared in Kingdom Hearts, because licensing. But yeah. Also, I think it skips Atlantica and Neverland for some reason that I don't know, but it does. But still, it's the same core Kingdom Hearts worlds like 3 times. And just at least from watching the design, and it's like, I feel like this would suck and be repetitive. I don't got time for that. No, I'm glad I just watched the cutscenes. Like, even if it's just more like a mission-based thing where you return to the worlds to play them again, 3 times seems excessive. That said, well, also, it's also repetitive because Data Sora loses his memories a couple times, or at least once again. And like I said, it's got the reset to 0 problem they have with Sora sometimes. Though I will say this is the first instance of Haley Joel Osment has actually gotten his voice acting skill to pitch his voice up, so he sounds like a younger Sora, even though he's obviously older now. So that's pretty cool. The voice acting's okay. It's just, oh my god, it's so long for just this tiny pinch of payoff at the end, which is BT Dubs Sora has like the memories of all these people like bundled up inside him, connected to him, and they're super important. So you've got to find these people, and it's basically the two you mentioned the trios that are common. It's the 2 other trios, right? It's like Sora's connected to Axel, Roxas, and Xion, and he's connected to Van Aquaterra, and it's like, you gotta, like, find these people and coordinate them and, like, help them fix their hurting, and you have to be able to bear their hurt, because you're Jesus. Again. So, but, and it's, those scenes are super emotional, and, like, I'm like, wow, this is starting to get to me a little, like, this is really neat. My god, that took a long time to get here for not a lot of reason. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to play Recoded. Because, like, even, like, much like with 358, I'm like, there's a lot of days, and yeah, I know you skip around, but there's also, I remember from playing it the first time, there's a lot of make work, so I'm glad I didn't have to play that. I kind of missed that there's no, like, boss fights for it, but whatever. So now I'm playing Dream Drop Distance 3D, which, like I said, plot-wise, is very much trying to be an actual Kingdom Hearts sequel. It's like, okay, we're actually, honest to God, set after 2. We are actually involving the plots for 2. We're using the 2 models in some scenes, but we also, in the actual gameplay, we go back to the Kingdom Hearts 1 models for some reason I can't understand. And Sora's voice is once again super high-pitched, and he's got his super baby face going. But whatever. Gameplay-wise, though, it's not perfect, but I like 3D better than I liked Birth by Sleep because, like I said, there's not as much randomness involved in getting your commands. It's a board you progress on. You do have to grind still, kinda, because I'm like trying to hunt down higher level blizzard spells to like beat up a boss faster. Because there's the whole elemental resistances and stuff going on. Status effects are back from Birth by Sleep. That's some. Lucky, does 3 have status effects and stuff?
Oh my fucking god! They don't come up a lot.
Not a lot, but they happen. Okay, because that's something that Birth by Sleep started, where because that's a common Final Fantasy element is you get the full confuse, blind, poison, all that stuff.
They're more unique than that.
Okay, that's good because that, like I said, that's like a Birth by Sleep and into Dream Drop thing where like all your fucking classic RPG status effects come back and they're kind of a pain in the butt.
They're not classic, but they're more annoying. I've only seen, I would say, 3 so far.
Is it more like a specific boss gimmick?
Kind of. So yeah, one that you kind of get once in a while is if you get burned, like you get hit with a fire attack, you might get burned, and Sora's pants will be on fucking fire, and he'll like waste some time, just jumping around, going hot, 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 hot.
All right, that's not terrible.
A second one is when you fight this pollen monster, you get the status effect Sneeze, where you uncontrollably sneeze for a while.
All right, that's just annoying. Yeah, I feel like they tried to cute it up because basically what you're telling me is it's just the fucking status effect, only they're fluffed differently. Like you can get paralyzed or blinded in some of these games, and you can get frozen, which is super fucking annoying. Luckily, it feels like every spirit and their mother in Dream Drop has like the ability that 100% blocks a status effect. So I have slowly been working my way through all those status effect blockers, and just like, no, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with stop on me. I don't want to deal with being blind. I don't want to deal with being paralyzed. But it's still, like I said, it's a lot more directed, so it's a lot, you have to grind, but you can actually see where you're going and see a path. That's pretty good. The gameplay's a lot looser, a lot freer than Birth. That was one of my complaints about Birth by Sleep, is it tended to be very rigid. Like, it felt like you had to have very specific button timing at a lot of points, and while the timing for, like, guard was very generous in Birth by Sleep, which I really did like, there was a lot of, like, okay, you really need to guard at this moment, and if you did fuck it up and you get hit, there's a lot of hit stun on you. There's a lot of, like, annoying enemy sequences, because recovery abilities were more limited. Like, depending on who you're playing as, it could take you a while before you get, like, payback stuff and counters. So 3D introduces flow motion, which is basically like, hey, you know all that jumping and leaping and fun stuff you did in 2? What if we just made that part of the actual game and not just cutscenes? So, at least in 3D, basically, if you roll into any environmental object, a wall, a pole, and sometimes large enemies, you jump onto a rail, you basically enter purple parkour mode, and you can jump around, you can move fast, and you can do attacks from this to beat up your enemies. And everybody told me flow motion is really good, and I'm like, I'm glad it's good because I'm doing this all the fucking time because this is amazing. Like, this is the mobility that I sorely missed in Birth by Sleep, and I love it. Like, the maps in Dream Drop are huge. They're, like, expansive, so you can take advantage of the system. So, hey, if there's, like, a long corridor I have to run down, I just use flow motion to start bouncing wall to wall, and it's great. I don't know if it's necessarily faster than just jogging, but it's a lot more entertaining. And like I said, you can turn it into attacks too, which usually hit a wide area and are semi-homing, and they're really neat. So that's a great system addition. But boy howdy, does Dream Drop have a lot of system additions, some of which I am not happy with. So, first of all, there's the drop mechanic, which is kind of annoying. You play as both Sora and Riku, and you can't play as them at the same time, and you're on a timer, and if the timer runs out, you have to switch. There's the item, Drop Me Nots, which you can take to, I guess it ups your drop gauge. I haven't really tried using them because they're a consumable resource, so I'm like, I'm not sure I want to dip into that in just a casual playthrough. But it can be really frustrating to be like, you're making good headway in the story as one character, and then it's like, oh, your drop gauge is going to run out, and it's like, you have to spend something, or the game forces you to switch. And I'm like, I don't know if I like this. Like, this disrupts my rhythm of playing the game. which is unfortunate. That's another one of those mobile isms, I think, where it's like, because this was originally on the 3DS, that's like you bought a game you're going to carry with you, let's make sure you have to play it a decent chunk of time, right? Like, you don't feel ripped off. That said, the ability to switch between the two is kind of fun. I haven't got far enough to, like, develop distinctive command styles. You share spirits, which is really good, and you share passives and commands, though obviously some commands are exclusive to certain characters. There's the whole spirits thing. You have your mobile collectible monsters version where you can, your persona or your Pokemon system fuse Beeple Bopples into mobs, and then you learn their abilities and you level them up, and you can pet them because it was a 3DS game, and you can do mini games, and you can kind of use the touchpad on the PlayStation 4 controller, but it's not great. Like I used a balloon toy training thing to like see what it was like, and I was like, oh my god, there's so many balloons I have to like randomly smash in my touchpad to pop for the game, and it sucks. Oh my god, I'm never doing this again. So that's I think my problem with Dream Drop is that it's clearly designed like it's a fucking sequel. It seems like it is the original Kingdom Hearts 3 almost, because we're moving the plot forward in an actual important way, and we're tying it back to previous titles. And it's got all the like extra components you'd expect out of a legit Kingdom Hearts game, like a full blown, okay, this is 3 title. Like what Lucky was talking about, all the systems you could get in there. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that sounds about right. But at the same time, it was still a 3DS title, and it still has kind of those hallmarks where, like I said, like the game wants to take a long time to play. Like one complaint I've had is even doing like flow motion or doing certain commands, I feel like all enemies, but especially bosses, have so much health. They take so much time to beat them. Even if you're like, know the strategy, they just have so much health you have to whittle on. And it feels like it can kind of push the limits of your ability to like to heal up and fight them. And it's really frustrating. I get that like in some cases you're kind of supposed to like maybe know their elemental weaknesses and stuff and exploit those, but even then, I only have so many command slots. Even if I had like 5 blizzards, there's still a lot of HP to chew through on some of these guys, and I feel like it's designed to like suck up your time, which I don't like. It's kind of like a timed effect, like almost like what we expect out of mobile games, like where whatchamacallit, like with Girls Frontline, how they have like timers for everything. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's kind of in the same vein where it's like, we want you to play this game, but we don't want you to beat it too fast. We want you to like take your time and actually have to like switch around a little bit. So that's my only complaint, that it feels like I'm maybe halfway through. I'm two and a half worlds in, I should say, and I'm at like just under 10 hours. But it feels like the game wants me to like take a time for this and then kind of pace it out. But it's entertaining at least. And like I said, Sora's writing is a little bit bland. It's a little, at least so far. I feel like there's going to be some more dramatic moments later that they're building to it. Right now, it's just, golly gee, Sora smiles at everything, and he wants to help everybody and be friends, and he doesn't feel bad about nobody trying to hurt him, except maybe he's still a little pissed off at Xemnas, because Xemnas was a huge douchebag. But Riku's writing is way more dynamic, because it's like he's trying to deal with like facing the darkness thing, and like, so in 2, he kind of like accepted that he's got darkness inside of him and worked from it, and that allowed him to have a Keyblade. But he's still not 100% over the fact that, he almost fucked everything up and became the Apocalypse. Which, to be fair, would take you a while to get over, right? Like my body got possessed by an evil force and tried to kill all my friends, and also the universe. That's some heavy shit. So he's still dealing with that, and he has learned lessons. He imparts positive feedback to people, but like he says, I'm trying to think, who was he talking to? Was he talking to, I think he was talking to like Quasimodo in the like I said, the Hunchback of Notre Dame world, where he says, when he's talking about like your heart being imprisoned or stuff like that, he says, no, I'm speaking from experience, and you can really feel it in that moment, right? Because he's talking about, listen, your heart shouldn't be shut in here. You should go out into the world and find friends who appreciate you. And he's like, no, trust me, buddy, I'm speaking from experience, which you really feel this like confrontation he is having with darkness inside him, and like the whole, how do I deal with my stuff? And so that's really good, but I'm only a little bit into that game. And after that, there's cutscenes for something that I don't remember. I'd have to look at the back of the box. Is it like Cross? And then there's the final passage, the prologue leading into 3. Hopefully I can get all that done in a week. I really knuckled down to get Birth by Sleep done, and it worked. So hopefully if I put... Honestly, I will say this. Dream Drop doesn't feel like a game I have to knuckle down on. It feels like a nice, solid Kingdom Hearts title that works. It's still got a couple quirks in it. And like I said, I feel like it's a very busy game with a lot of sequences, but it has a lot of positives. This memento system is great. Like, when the plots of previous games have come up, it's offered to show me flashbacks to them, and I'm like, no, I don't need that. I've literally just played those games. But if you were playing this at the time, I could totally see going like, oh yeah, what did happen in 2 that's relevant right now? Or like, also, the one thing that's great about this game is at the very least, it's finally fucking expositing things, like, to the main characters. Yen Sid's like, yo, there was a Keyblade War, and there was a Keyblade, but with an X, and it's got broken into a whole bunch of pieces, 7 pieces of light and 13 pieces of darkness, okay? You following this? Master Xehanort wants to recreate the Keyblade so he can find the real Kingdom Hearts, because he's obsessed with darkness and light and stuff, and he's a huge douchebag. And to defeat him, you're gonna need to get all the Keyblade wielders who exist, because keys are important. So it's like, no, they, like, make a serious effort in 3D to actually be like, no, there's an actual fucking meta plot going on, and we're actually going to explain it to you all at once. This is why I said it sounds almost like maybe if you had recently played, like, all the way through 3D, and maybe the prologue, like, that would probably be enough to feel like you were connected to some of the events they're referencing in 3, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see how I feel when I actually get to play Kingdom Hearts 3. But I'm having an okay time. Like I said, mostly my problems with 3D are like design choices. Like I said, like, why did they revert to the Kingdom Hearts 1 models? You know, was that like a corner cutting thing? Because it feels like a step backward. But they have the 2 models because in all the flashbacks where they're talking to Yen Sid, they're in their 2 models where Riku is like a head taller than Sora. Actually, that's a good question. Does Sora get any taller in 3?
Nope.
Alright, so he's still somewhere ambiguously in his mid-teens. He hasn't finished growing yet. Riku's still huge, right?
Yeah. He's still a half pint, which is part of the joke. 3 half pints make more than 1.
Well, they are. They're adorable. That said, I also, as much as I love Donald Goofy, I also really just wanted the Destiny Islands trio to get together and hang out as like a 3-man team. That'd be great. The game's not really. I don't know if the game's really equipped for that though. Like on a metaphysical level, that never happened in. No, I take that back. That happens once in Birth by Sleep. There's one unversed boss where you actually, all 3 of you get together and your two other characters show up on the screen and you all vaguely team up to defeat a boss, and you have a really rad cutscene where you triple cut it and it dies, and then you guys immediately bring up your personal issues and all split up again and fuck off. You don't even fight together in the actual climax because everybody immediately gets separated. So maybe that's just a thematic thing. But still, goddamn. So I only talked for like 40 minutes about 2 whole Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah.
But I think that's everything I really wanted to say about those 2 games and then the movies for Recoded. And I'll get back to more Dream Drop and stuff.
Yeah, but now that we've talked almost, 2 hours, just Kingdom Hearts, do we really want to talk about anything else?
I mean, I have a couple things we could mention. Everybody's favorite gacha game, Azure Lane. It's Lunar New Year.
Oh my god.
And it has adorable mini-games.
Oh, yeah, so, Azure Lane continuing to prove that they got ideas and they are not fucking afraid to use them. So, basically, everyone should remember that Azure Lane is a Chinese-based,
Yep. They're in China. In fact, they tweeted recently there's a national holiday coming up, so they were like, hey, it's a holiday in the PRC, so the Azure Lane staff is going to be out of the office, just so you know.
There's going to be one guy here, and it's great.
So don't have any problems, okay?
It's great, but the Lunar New Year is a big Chinese thing, and so of course for a Chinese game they went all fucking out. They've added a fuck ton of ships. They've added a fuck ton of Eastern ships of the Dragony Empire, which I think before
a lot of Chinese naval ships basically, which was important because they were like
3,
three,
because they had the sisters and Yat-Sen, I think.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
There was Ping Hai and Ninhai, and then Yat-Sen, and then Now there's a whole bunch.
Yeah, they've added like 4 or 5 more, and already got skins. And boy howdy, these skins are all I don't know how to fucking pronounce it. KHIII? How do you pronounce that shit? Z-Pow?
Yeah.
How do you Chinese?
I think the Q is a K sound in this case.
I don't know. Those Chinese dresses, you know the fucking Chinese dresses.
It's the dress that starts with a Q because we mentioned it.
Yeah. These dresses, all of them have legs for days.
As Camper Wen, who, well, he's not from China. He says that he's
he's from Malaysia.
Chinese.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily know if he wanted to throw that out there, but okay. But yeah, he says that he's culturally and ethnically Chinese. So he has mentioned that is not technically how you traditionally wear those dresses, but he's okay with it.
He has been dead. He has been dead for a while. I am dead. They have come out with lots of skins. Belfast, Enterprise, Lexington, a whole bunch of girls. It's just like, oh my god, these legs for days. Legs for days. And it's great. I don't have gems to buy any of these though, and I am sad. This is how Azure Lane gets you. One, they give you a bunch of ships fucking easy so you run out of space. And you have to buy more space because you don't want to give up any of your ships. Or 2, they just draw really damn good skins. You're like, I need this in my life. I don't know why, but I do. This is how they get you. But going back to the event, they've actually come out with they've come out with the Admiral Graf Spree, where you can, do some stuff and get her. You have to do like the 3rd mission like 60 times, but you can get it for free. I don't know if I'm that dedicated. I'll try though. I'm gonna try. But they also have the Lunar New Year event mini games, which are just a bunch of side events that you get through. One is a board game where you get like so many rolls a day, and you just go around the board. And get nice
it's called the Momopoly. It's Monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
It's ultra simplified, but it's Monopoly. Have you paid attention to what happens if you land on like a chance or community chest?
Yes.
They're hilarious.
I get
you were scared by Kaga and Akatsuki, or Akagi. Go forward 3 squares.
Glowworm headbutts you from behind. Move forward 1 square. I've gotten headbutted by Glowworm a lot. Apparently, this is her thing.
She headbutts. You won an eating contest at the dock. Get 100 oil.
You helped Akashi with her shop gain blueprints. It's like it's fun. It's
adorable.
It's adorable. But when you go around so many times, you get envelopes, and sometimes you get super red envelopes that have gems in them.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
That's
good. I need more gems.
Need more gems. They also have a little fighting game, minigame, which you get so many like combos per a day. Again, it's something simple. All you really do is push A or B in a combination of 3s, and your game sprite does a little attack, and the HP goes down on the monster you're fighting.
And different combos do different things.
From what I can tell, every combo is unique.
Yeah, they do a different animation, and they do slightly different damage. Not like a huge difference, but if you were trying to be efficient, you'd obviously want to like slot in on one that works. I've done lots of different things. Like I've seen her Shoryuken. I've seen her basically Hadoken, like Fireball. There's one where she throws like 3 axes.
There's one where she only throws 1 axe.
Yeah, there's like a barrage of punches. They're all adorable.
It's cute. Yeah,
and it encourages you to actually play around with them too.
I don't know if they actually have different attack power or whatever, but I enjoy them all the same.
From what I understand, watching the bar, they feel like they do have slightly different damage, but like I said, I don't think it matters unless you're trying to be ultra efficient.
Yeah, I'm good. I just want to punch things. AAB, BAB, BAB, AA. That's all I'm about.
I think I do BBA a lot, which is like an uppercut, which does a decent chunk of the bar.
So there's also a third, which is a honest to God color by the numbers coloring book,
which is adorable, but also slightly annoying because the numbers are very tiny on my phone.
By the way, you can zoom in.
Oh, thank God! I got to do that because it's when you're hunting like that 1C. Or G or something in there. You got to get real tight up in there to get those letters.
Excuse me. I am a big black man with fat ass fingers. Yes, I need to. You basically just do the phone zoom in or zoom out, and you go right in. Otherwise, yes, it's a fucking pain. But it's fun. You basically collect the colors by spending oil, and they just give you fucking paints, and they're like, all right, cool, yay. Which is something that you just do while playing the game, so it's just something you collect, like, naturally. So, like, all these mini games and stuff don't really feel like you're taking yourself out of the actual gameplay mechanic of the game. It's something like, all right, I finished the mission. Let me go do these mini games real quick. All right, back to the missions. Not like we're in Girls Frontline. It's like, all right, guess I'm doing nothing but Arctic Warfare for like forever now. Rip.
Yeah, it's a little annoying, but I'm trying. I want to get AUG. Though, hey, speaking of Girls Frontline, though, I don't know if you noticed on Twitter, but esteemed friend of the show, ultra popular FGO YouTuber, one Voice of St. Courts, has started playing Girls Frontline, despite the fact that we have up and down talked the show a lot. And also, I think he yelled at us at an early Girls Frontline for what's up for maybe even mentioning it on Let's Talk FGO about trying to sell people on Girls Frontline. He was like, "No, you can't get me." He did it.
I need to go. It has to be on one of our collabs.
Oh, it's a YouTube comment where he's like talking about Girls Frontline. And he's like, "No, you won't get me sucked in."
We need to.
Hey,
I need to go find this
wrong.
and copy and paste this. Like, hey, voice.
You were wrong. I can probably go back in the comments of a video. That would be probably really annoying to track down which episode of whatever it was.
It just has to be the one where let's find out which one Girls Frontline was in. Then we get started. When did it release in America? Recently in America.
But yeah, so we can track that down and we can find that which YouTube comment that is, and like I'll screen cap it and reply tweet to something, voice tweets about Girls Frontline. Because, like I said, he's doing the whole sharing things and talking about ladies. He likes UMP9. He got her already, and he said that he enjoyed her temperament.
Let's see, May 8th, 2018. So let's go to YouTube.
Find all the shows we released in May.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was pretty funny to see, especially considering how we've honestly trash-talked Girls Frontline a little bit at times because we have complaints about the design of that game.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I mean, like, it's not for everyone, and very few things are perfect.
Oof.
Yeah, the Azure Lane quest continues. And I'm trying to think, like, is Duke of York in this setup, or is she going to be in a different thing? Because I'm not seeing her on the rate up, so I'm wondering if is that like a separate event later, even though they talked about her. Don't know. Like he's intensely screwing YouTube comments. So I will say also, in addition to some of the Chinese ships, we also got a few of the new Royal Fleet ships that were previewed in the pipeline for like out of China and Japan, like Chaser, the light carrier, and the two new maid girls whose names I can't pronounce off the top of my head. Which are like rares, which I have one of them already. I'm doing a decent chug on like I'm trying not to blow my load on wisdom cubes, but I'm doing a decent chug of like trying to get the event ships. Because hey, boy, howdy, if I build an Admiral Graf Spee, then I really don't need to go through all that hassle of doing the thing to get her. Creep neck. Luckily, any awkward silences should be cut out by editing. Lucky, are you still on a deep dive of the comments? Let me unpause. So there was a slight delay in there where I lost track of my Discord tab for a second there, which is why Lucky wasn't responding to me. I asked if you were like deep in the YouTube comment mines as I conversed about Azure Lane ships.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna find it. I almost found it. I'm soon.
Other than that stuff I already did say, I don't think there's anything more to vamp on. If you're still gonna go fishing, I could talk about the other thing I've been doing this week.
Yeah, go for it.
Which is writing games, because I do that. Oh, though we did actually record our actual play. We got around to it, like we said. We did actually do it later that day from that WhatsApp, didn't we? Or was that? No, that was later. It was just randomly on like a Monday, I think. That was right. Whatever. I lose track of when we record things sometimes. But we did get to game. I started running these guys through what I did Operation Desert Predator, which was an intro which was way more thought out than I thought it would be, but was good. You didn't actually get to the actual mission part of the mission until the very end, but it worked out a lot, and people should check out that. Our actual plays are very hit and miss in view terms, and I don't know. Like, some of our stuff in the past is done pretty good. Yeah?
I found it. It's, I found it. It was 8 months ago. It is during our Let's Talk Fate Grand Order number 37 Rashomon pregame and Shuten Doji Gacha. Voice says promoting Girls Frontline. No. Angry face. I left that Mecha Mutsume's phase a long time ago. You can't possibly rope me back in.
Lucky, could you screen cap that for me real quick? So
I'm totally going
to tweet.
Yep.
Or honestly, you could probably tweet it from the account because I know you can. But
yeah, no. Let me open up some.
Because that's just perfect.
Yep. Fear us, voice. We have long memories, and we are fickle and tricksters.
Well, and also fear us because it was in the tweet. That's right, because I said the tweet about us not recording Let's Talk FG. I mentioned because we actually did it that we could talk about the fact that we recorded our collab with Voice, and it took like 4 hours. And I said to expect that video whenever Voice climbs out of the editing dungeon of his own making, because I think he said that he would be the primary editor on that, so it's his own fault. Also, Voice is on our Discord right now, so. I feel like though we should publicly show his shame to the internet.
Oh, you want me to? Wait, so you want me to post? Hang on.
Well, I mean, yeah. Either give me the screen cap or actually make the tweet yourself. But
I'll give you the screen cap because you'll write something pithy on it. Let's see here. Save this. Yes, this is good.
You were hearing us scheming live. But I like to scheme.
I do too. Voice evidence. That's what I'll name this.
It's much like that one cheeky screen cap I took where YouTube was trying to suggest to me a lot of Voice's older videos that I'd already seen. But when you tell YouTube recommended you don't want to see a video, you can tell them why, which helps them switch their filters. So I opened that up, and one of the checkboxes, I'm not interested in channel name. So I checked that, which said I'm not interested in channel Voice of St. Courts, and I screen capped it for a rainy day, and then I obviously didn't do that. I switched it over to, I've already seen this video. So, but
I'm going to post it in the Patreon chat here.
Yeah, so other people can see it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I will tweet about it after the show.
I'll still go put that in our gacha games
and bring it up. But yeah, okay. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, right. I was saying the other thing I was doing was writing games. Remember 4 Explorer? I'm still into that. I'm still doing it. I'm still riding that wave. So I ran out of Markiplier's old episodes of Oxygen Not Included, so I started watching his Subnautica series. I am somewhere in the 30s of a video series, which is nearly 80 videos long, so I got some way to go.
Subnautica's great. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Subnautica's an interesting question for me, because much like Markiplier, I also have a deep-seated, respectful fear of the ocean, which is interesting, because I love to swim. Like, I lived in further south in Florida for a long time, and we had a pool. So I did a lot of swimming. The beach is okay. I cut my foot up on a horseshoe crab once.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're spiny, but they're also really cool. So it was okay. It wasn't serious, it was just a little bit. But at the same time, like I said, I have a deep, respectful fear of the open ocean. And all that shenanigans.
Well, you see, like, honestly, like, Subnautica doesn't, like, because I have that fear too, because, riptides are fucking scary.
Yep. Well, also, we've mentioned this before, you were a Navy man, you were on boats in the middle of fuck all ocean.
Yeah.
With nothing but water.
Middle of storms, middle of all that, it's like, just, yeah, going in that water, not a good thing. If I fall off the ship, I'm dead. Like, oh yeah, we have all these lifeboats and preservers and stuff to follow you, but that's only if someone sees you, and this is a very, very big ship. So...
Yeah. So... The ocean is a healthy respect. So that game is like a toss-up whether or not I'd actually be okay, like, playing it. As like could I handle first-person ocean stuff where there's literal, like, spooky sharks and leviathans which will just jump out and grab your face?
Honestly, I played it, and it's a hella good time.
No, it also seems really entertaining. Like, at the same time, while at some points Mark plays it almost like a horror game, and obviously I feel like he's selling it up for the camera a little bit, how freaked out. Like, there's like I watched it because I got into this because there's an expansion pack called Below Zero, which is in early access now.
Yep.
But he released a video on that, which I watched at first for a while. So like he either for the sake of entertainment or just as because he's never gotten out of the habit of doing that because it is more entertaining. Like he gets freaked out at the smallest stuff. Like there are times when I wonder, is the audio balance not the same as the audio you're listening to? Because I cannot hear the sounds that are supposedly freaking you out. Like, I just hear maybe air bubbling or water slooshing as you swim, and you're like, what was that sound? Oh my god, fuck the ocean. I'm like, okay, calm down. So, like I said, like it's a coin flip whether or not I can play that. And if your computer mob machine ever stops being dying, I believe you've talked about how you wouldn't mind recording some Subnautica for the channel.
Oh yeah, no.
Which I think, giving our thematic talks about like survival games and space exploration and stuff, would actually be really on point for us.
Yeah, like as I said, like I've put like I haven't like technically beat Subnautica, and it's not like one of my biggest
I was about to say,
games.
You've been, I presume, playing since like the early access days. Have you actually like put in time into like the 1.0 version?
Oh yeah, I've put some time in. I still haven't like beat it because, as I said, the ocean is big and scary, and you have to go real fucking deep. And I only got so much oxygen. So, for me, I kind of find this middle zone of, I have my bubble of what I'm comfortable doing, and I slowly try to extend that.
Well, and honestly, I feel like, from watching it played, I feel like that's kind of the point of the game. It's like, while it has later built systems where you have to slowly get out of your comfort zone, at the same time, it feels like it's very much like, no, you slowly accelerate to being comfortable surviving in more and more dangerous environments underwater, whether it's super deep or with crazy wildlife that'll eat you, or just like hazard like acidity or fire.
Yeah, because like the way I am right now, it's like you have to get so deep. So what you do is you stock up on fucking supplies and go build yourself. Like you have your main base where you have all your cool gizmos and gadgets. Then you like load up on supplies, get in your submersible of whatever form. You go down, you build yourself another base that is deeper. So then you just gotta through the ability of getting between those two bases, or consign yourself just to be like to move yourself deeper and deeper. And it's kind of just like, ooh, like, because they're like,
especially watching the environments evolve, because like Markiplier's video series is from like somewhere relatively earlier they're like from the early access like 2 years ago or 3 years ago at this point to like eventually, I assuming he beats the game in like 1.0, like he actually plays the whole story, quote unquote. So it's interesting to see a lot of these environments evolve, and a lot of the environmental design of the game is really cool and neat. But basically what that's been doing that's been kind of driving some of my direction with creating Explorer/4 Explorer. Because that is very much the type of, maybe not the solo aspect, but that's very much the type of thing that we're in, which is like, okay, you have a bare minimum of starting supplies, and so you are now in an environment which is potentially hostile, or at the very least, there's not like a lot of food and clean water in your life pod in Subnautica, so it's like, okay, clock's ticking. You are going to die if you do not work on this problem and start gathering resources. So that's kind of helped inform some of my decisions. So I worked out core mechanics and lots of like core concepts with an example, which is hopefully illustrative. And my love for Unicode is growing because I know that there's Unicode for dice faces, which is good because this is going to be a probably primarily D6's game. Roll pools of D6s and have to use certain values or higher on certain things. I formalized it in a language like, while I don't know I don't have like fine-tuning on the exact numbers, I kind of like figured out, okay, so you got a colonist roll, you've got your hidden agenda, you've got your skills, you've got some gear in your starting kit, and you have your two primary stats as a player are health and morale, so your mental health and your physical health. You generate amount of labor, which is one of the resources equal to your total morale and health. I'm not the number I feel like I want is 8, but I don't know whether or not I'm going to adjust the starting number in each around that number, or if I'm going to adjust the later number based on what I think is works. But for some reason, like 8 health and 8 morale sounds about right, because that's a nice round even number that has like good halfway points. Like say if you dip below like 4 health or 4 morale, you have to like take penalties and stuff. And at 0 health, you die. And at 0 morale, you have a mental break and are basically catatonic unless somebody spends a lot of effort fixing your brain. And everybody starts with a couple of equipment. Like, I already figured out the crash suit. One thing I think I'm going to do for this is a lot of, like, a tag system, a lot of which are narrative. So, I don't necessarily want to, because this is meant to have a lot of, like, procedural generation, I don't necessarily want to bog everybody down and, like, figuring out the exact mean temperature in Celsius or Kelvins of every planet, and, like, your thermal protection stops at exactly 100 degrees. No, I don't want to do that. So it's just like, okay, do you have a temperature protection tag? Okay, you're fine for temperature, unless maybe it's in, like, an extreme temperature, in which case it's like, do you have extreme temperature protection, or maybe you have, like, high temperature protection, specifically for super hot things, whatever. And then it's kind of like, okay, if the narrative, the tags you're assigned don't necessarily match up, then you have a problem. Otherwise, whatever. Don't stress about the exact scientific basis and failure points and all that stuff. Which you can already see, and I've already put, like, what I think the crash suit's stats are going to be, which is like, okay, so you got a lot of protections. It stores a little bit of air. It has a battery. It's got some possible upgrades, which I haven't elaborated, but they exist. It can give you a little skill boost with its little flashlight. So if you're, like, looking for stuff and it's dark, you can be like, no, I can look better because it's got a little flashlight on it. I built the skill list. I feel okay with the way the skill list turned out. I'm not sure. We'll see if I go through some revisions, if I have to cut any skills. I explicitly designed a lot of the skill names and categories based on college majors, because I wanted that to be the theme. Yeah, I mentioned that to you. So there's, like, some of them make sense. They're like accounting, architecture, chemistry, and then there's stuff like biomedical. Aerospace aeronautics is one skill. Cryptography's in there. There's a lot of fun stuff like culinary arts, which is how to cook food good, which can be important. And some of them I've said are not important on a small scale colony, but can be super important later. Like urban planning is a skill, which so far, because I'm also part of the way defining some of the roles. Like, I've built my list and I need to actually do all their stats. So urban planning is something that most only have a little bit of. And it's not a huge deal when you start because you're not really doing anything urban, but if you get to, like, city-sized colonies, it's actually going to be important to be like, no, you need to, like, actually plan out your habitat blocks, otherwise your colonists are going to get really agitated and they're going to be unhappy because your infrastructure is not properly built, or your habitat organization is super inconvenient. And there's, like, social stuff like sociology or even, like, theology or linguistics. Those don't really necessarily matter a huge deal unless you have a large population where you can actually have conflicting cultures. But I feel like they're important to, like, mention there. And I also threw in, like, there's a couple of alien-focused skills and, like, exoplanet-focused stuff, which are useful. In case I do want to go a slightly more, you find alien ruins, ooh, which will probably be optional. I had to develop one more planet type because I needed 25 to make a nice round RNG.
I like that. I like that feeling of you got to have, like, a solid number. You just can't have some arbitrary number.
Well, yeah, because like 24 is a nice round number, but that doesn't divide evenly into 100. So I'm like, well, shit, I'd have to, like, rethink my entire RNG. So I had to come up with 25 so that I can make them every 4 percentiles on a D percentile dice, and that works. So I invented the Cloud Planet, taking some inspiration from some other ideas, which is supposed to be, like, halfway between, like, a stable Venus-like or in a Gaian world. So high atmospheric pressure, lots of volcanic activity, but because it had higher water and oxygen content, it built, like, an ozone layer and stuff, so it didn't lose its water or start a lot of runaway greenhouse. But it's almost, like, permanently cloud covered, so the surface is very dim. Because of the higher air pressure, the winds are very strong, and the air is not necessarily breathable. So that's like a whole. It's a cloud world, so it's like you got this cloud ceiling, and then it's very dark and dim and a little windy down there, which is going to be like a whole thing, which I thought would be a really cool environment type to describe, which has its own challenges. Which is like, okay, do you just fortify everything up and, like, build windbreaks, or do you try to climb up into the cloud layer? You know, you probably can't build solar, but you can build wind turbines really good. Stuff like that. But I was working through, I'm working through the colonist roles. I have kind of like a general outline. I've got my also 25 list, because it just worked out that way. Which, you know, some of them are pretty you got like admin. You can be the colony surgeon, pilots, lots of different technicians. But also some of them are more out there, like you can be the counselor, you could be the chaplain, a religious representative, some science teams, you could be an archivist. You could be a penal colonist, a criminal who's been sent out here, as opposed to spending like, okay, you can spend 10 years in jail, or you can spend 10 years work at a space colony. And hey, guess what? If you want to do something dumb and be a criminal douchebag, you'll die. Then there's like what might seem completely useless, like artist is one of them, which I've said is like, in like late stage colonies, you want creative types just so everybody doesn't get space crazy. But also sometimes like celebrities like make donations so they can get slots on these, and you feel like they're dead weight, but maybe they can be helpful. Because every colonist role has a special ability, and obviously some of these will probably change as playtesting emerges, but I think I got the right idea for them. So some of them like enhance certain resource productions at certain times. Some of them let you spend labor for basically what are called free activities. So there's no upkeep or anything requirement to engage in this activity. You can just do it as a special power. Like the administrator has the ability called motivational speaker. So once per tick, so once per time unit, you can pick another colonist. It has to be a different. Or actually, I should write that to be pick a colonist, because I explicitly note you can pick yourself later, which is important. Some of them you can't pick other people. You can't pick yourself. But basically, you can spend up to 4 labor, so you can spend 4 of your energy to restore that much morale to the colonist. You can basically spend your time making them feel good about themselves. Or you can flip it, and you can reduce their morale by up to 4 to give them that much extra labor, as you basically yell at them to work harder. And it says they have to consent, so you can't just point at another player and say, okay, this turn your morale goes down by a whole bunch and you get more labor. They have to choose to do it, but still it's a good balancing act. And some of them are good at different times. Like the archivist ability is once per session. You pick a project or activity, and if you have ever completed it before in the history of your colony, you have the materials cost. So that's much better as time goes on. Like if you build a couple expensive projects and you have to build another one, that can help you reduce the cost down. But obviously, like first session, when you've built literally nothing, it's useless. It can't be used until you start doing stuff. Some of them are let you substitute skills you're good at for other skills. A lot of them are like spend labor or spend morale to basically do stuff. And some of them are just permanent bonuses, like the diver, inspired partially by Subnautica, but also by the fact that deep-sea divers would have the kind of skill set you might want on exoplanet colonization. Their ability is called Diver's Lungs, and basically whenever you take damage from not having enough clean air, because you have to have so much per tick, you suffer 1 less damage, minimum of 1, so you need less air than other people.
Oh.
Or you can last longer on less air, I guess I should say, because you would still take a little bit of damage, but the amount of air you need to last is less, because you have trained lungs. And also you get a sea scooter, which is a little personal diver unit. And that's kind of the general theme. So you can randomly roll colonist rolls, which will probably be funny. Or you can pick if you want to make a logistical team, so you can build synergy and be good at things, and you'll be different at different stuff.
Shit's hella Civ.
Yeah, that's kind of like I said. It's on a smaller scale than Alpha Centauri, but that was definitely also an inspiration. And after I do rolls, I'll probably work through hidden agendas. That's going to be really interesting. Those are probably going to be much more open-ended, but I want them to not be all bad. Like, you think hidden agenda, those got to be sinister. No, like, some of them are like I put criminal in there because one of the hidden agendas I want to do is like, turn over a new leaf, which is basically like, hey, you have a new planet, new lease on life. You want to build a good name for yourself and ignore your past on Earth. So, like, you want the colony to be successful, and you want to be well-known for it. But other ones, which may include why you have skills like ballistics to shoot guns and military science, might be like, start a revolution and separate from the Earth government and be on your own, and stuff like that. So that's going to be really interesting. Some of them will be more positive, or some of them will be more negative, but they should all, like, drive characters in interesting ways. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I filled out the planetary survey. What I'm kind of planning for planets, yes, there will be lots of tables and lots of matrices. But after, like, the planet type table. I think I want to. There'll be common resources and materials on different planets, and like uncommon, and then if they're not listed, they're not present at all. So that'll kind of like shake out what you got available and what you have to either create through some other reaction or go out of your way to make.
I will study magic and master the ways of alchemy.
Yeah, or you'll just have to like figure out a way to make volatiles out of other stuff. Because hey, maybe there's oxygen and oxides, right? So maybe if you take some silicate stuff about it with some oxygen, you can make some clean air through some chemical shit. But yeah, that'll be like a thing you can worry about. But also, I want to have a section which is like common biomes, and I'm going to include an explanation that technically, in the actual technical definition, biome refers to a place where living things live. So, like, if there's no actual biosphere, you probably shouldn't use the term biome. But, pop culturally, especially because of video games like Minecraft, Subnautica, Starbound, we think of biomes as just like a certain geographic type of place, which has certain conditions. So that's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to borrow some terms from like
I wonder what the
astrogeology is, like chasmas, plantias, because I am a huge nerd and I love those. So that'll be like that'll be a thing that one of the matrices will be like, okay, so you're on a water heavy planet. Hey, guess what? So your common biomes are water, like open ocean and shoals maybe, or something like that, or reefs, and then your uncommons are like islands, seamounts, and stuff, and then any kind of biome that's not mentioned is just not present. So the biome stuff will be kind of like how you kind of like describe your world, because you'll check out different biomes that are close to you, and maybe you'll find a place where you want to. Maybe you don't want to build where you first land. Maybe you want to build somewhere that's easier to access resources. You don't have to like waste a whole tick traveling everywhere, because that could totally be a thing, right? Where like, okay, so right now we're in like an open, flat, rocky plain. There's plenty of dirt and soil here, but let's say we're on a planet that's like a Gaian type that's got like greenery growing or whatever the local flora equivalent is. If we go over to that forest, which is the next biome over, there's a lot of biomass we can like turn into stuff. We can burn it for fuel. We can turn it into materials. Maybe we can eat it. But boy howdy, it's really resource intensive for us to, build space trucks and fuel them up and drive them over there and come back. Why don't we build in that biome? And that'll be a thing you have to think about. Because there's going to be the key here is resource management and time management. You only have so much of each. You have a constant resource intake. Literally every tick, you as a human colonist need to be supplied with rations, clean air, and potable water. Otherwise, you start dying. Like right away. Like if now the lander will be filled with like ration bricks and has water filtration and water tanks and has an air recycler. So it should be enough that so long as you're keeping its energy up, however you choose to do that, you can actually stay with clean air and water in a very tight space, and eventually, hopefully, feed yourself. But, eventually you're going to start growing out there. And while I want random events there'll be a wide variety of stuff like that, I think, ultimately, because, whatever, like I said, I love tables, and I will like populating tables with stuff you can do. But I also think I'm going to explicitly write, these are just guidelines, like, don't think this is the end-all be-all. If you come up with a cool idea, do it. I'm going to treat, like, alien creatures the same way, which is just like, listen, alien biology is weird. Whatever you can think of, there's probably, like, some kind of evolutionary explanation for. And just like I said, that narrative tag system will be kind of how you figure that out. Like, maybe you just say that a creature has an armored hide, so it has an armor rating, so you need specialist tools if you want to kill them and, like, harvest them for food and materials. Or if they're hostile and you want to get rid of them because they're trying to eat your face, which is a constant problem that we run into in these genres. So much face eating. Ugh. Now, the first time Mark got ate by a Reaper Leviathan was, I think, a watchword for everybody. Because boy howdy, that's a creature design that is right up there with your deepest, darkest nightmares.
Oh yeah,
because it's a giant sea snake creature that has like claw ears. Like, it's got all these arms right up front by its head, which basically just wrap around your sub or your body and just pull you right into its mouth. And it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'll be like how you handle like alien creatures. Is just like, maybe they float, maybe they fly. maybe they shoot lightning from their butts. And that'll be kind of like how the actual role playing and narrative ties together. Is like, as a GM, you either have to like randomly roll, or you have to arbitrate. Like, okay, so here's an event that happens that could be interesting, and kind of like that's your job, is to kind of play the role of the AI Eden and kind of be the peacekeeper and organizer between all the player characters. Like, okay, it's time for us to go to a new tick. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing this time? And like keep everybody organized and actually flowing forward. And then your job is also to add complications. Like, okay, well, you're in the middle of a sandy desert on a planet that has a lot of sandstorms. Hey, guess what? There's a fucking sandstorm, and your solar panels are not going to be working, so you're not going to generate power this turn, and they might get beat up. What are you going to do? And like ask interesting questions. And if a narrative emerges, that's good. And if no narrative emerges, and it's just this kind of like ongoing series of challenges as the player characters try to like build the things they want to build and meet their hidden agendas, that's fine too. That's a sandbox type which people play. And like I said, if you want to build in the weird alien mystery or whatever, there'll be an option for that. I don't know if I'd go for that myself, but it can be there. Finding like freaky black monoliths is another hallmark of this type of science fiction.
You know, it'd be great if there's
Go ahead.
It'd be great if there's freaky black monoliths. It's just there's an insect type species that builds them as a sign of this is our territory. That's all there is to it. Make it something stupid simple.
Yeah. They're basically space termite mounds.
Mm-hmm.
But they look really cool. But yeah,
real cool.
So like gears will have all these tags, and I've like started fleshing them out. I've kind of figured out what a lot of the starting gear examples could be. So every role gets a crash suit, which is your starting spacesuit, which is very generalist, but pretty responsible and hardy. Got a little bit of armor protection, so if you get damaged from something, not like it'll stop a bullet, but if you get punched or if you fall, it should absorb some impact. Everybody gets a PDA. It's not really a smartphone because telephone systems don't exist yet, so it's a smartphone-like device. And then if you're a more like social or talky role who doesn't have a lot of gear, you just get 2 random bits of gear, and I'll come up with a table for that, which will be fun stuff, like I mentioned last time. Like maybe you'll reach into your mission locker under your crash seat, and you'll be like, "Why the fuck do I have a gun?" or stuff like that. Or it'll be like, why do I have this random sensor that I don't know how to use, but maybe somebody else can use it? You know, stuff like that. And then sometimes if you have a specific piece of gear, like one of the roles you can be is cargo tech, which is aka Loadmaster, or sometimes just effectively Gopher. They have a cargo drone. They have I don't know if you've seen this commercial, but so this is the thing Amazon's piloting, a delivery robot, which is basically just like a bin on treads.
Oh yeah.
That's what the cargo drone is. It's basically like, okay, here's a little drone that can be remote operated from your PDA, and it's got a big cargo bin on top. And if you want to carry shit, you pop it open and you throw the shit inside. So, hey, guess what's great if you want to move a lot of resources around? You can get a little drone to do it. It's just, you have to keep powering it. Or a couple have like an excavator tool, which would be like this general purpose digging tool. Who did I give there's a couple, like, Surveyor's gonna have the utility knife, I think, but I give that to... Yeah, I gave that to Food Tech, aka Galley Technician. They also have a utility knife, which is... Other than random rolls, I think only a couple are gonna get, like, the utility knife as a starting piece of equipment, and the security roll is gonna get a like, collapsible baton. And that'll be the only starting weapons, will be a couple of melee weapons. But like I said, maybe randomly you'll open it up and you'll find a fish security pistol out, and you'll be like, ooh, this really changed the tone of this game, suddenly. Why do we have a gun? And like, I don't know the exact scope of what I'm building, but I've got a lot of general ideas. Like, I want there to be lots of little drones. Like Pilot isn't in yet, but I want them to have like a little quadcopter drone that you can use for like recon. I've already figured out there's going to be a couple different, like, suits you can build for different environments. Like, you can build a hazmat suit for, like, caustic and toxic environments. You can build a high-temperature suit. You can build the hard suit, the one-man spaceship, to basically be like, okay, any kind of environment I can take a little bit. Has a little thruster, stuff like that. Upgrades are going to be a thing. And, yeah, like I said, I don't know the exact scope of what buildables will be yet. But I have ideas, and I am heavily inspired by a lot of these games, and I will As is usual, this idea is still sticking with me, so I can still ride with it. And hopefully, Lucky is enthused about it, which I feel like he is. Which he can maybe give me some feedback sometimes, and that having people to bounce ideas off of really helps with a lot of stuff because it gives you that immediate feedback. And now we've been recording for almost 3 hours, and my voice is dying.
Yep.
So, and also I've had a little bit of a headache because I'm kind of congested today. Like a lot of people are all up in arms about their crazy below zero weather, but Florida still can't make up its fucking mind, so it's like switching between hot and cold and like rainy and not really fast. So like the pollen count's been really high lately because the weather tricked all the plants into thinking it was spring, and then it was like, no, fuck you, it's cold, haha. So I've been even taking some stuff. I've been a little like congested and headachy the past couple days, so I'm feeling a little worn out. So I think we'll go ahead and wind down. Why am I saying that? We're at almost 3 hours. We should wind down now for our safety and sanity.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Why am I apologizing? Whatever. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you were part of our regular Let's Talk FGO crew and you decided to tune in to see what we're doing this week, we hope the 3 hours of content is sufficient to get you through whatever daily grind it is you usually listen to us to, because that's what people always say they listen to us while we do. What they do while they listen to us. Jesus Christ, I'm losing my ability to speak.
Yep, it's going soon.
Luckily, I only need like 5 minutes to do the outro. Lucky, is there anything on Earth you want to mention or forecast for at all in the show, or are you fine at 3 hours?
I'm fine at 3 hours, right?
Okay. Hey, if you like this episode, give it a like. That really helps the video and us out and makes you feel good about yourself. And that's my new speech. If you have any comments on any of the topics we talked about, your own thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3, no spoilers, by the way. I will do something unpleasant to you. Leave them in the comment section down below. People, like I said, are usually pretty respectful to our spoiler policies. You can also join in our Discord. That link is in the description. And if you are new here and have not already, please subscribe for all your latest 3-hour videos talking about children's video games and exploring space.
Nice.
And of course, like it says at the front of the show, you can consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early. You can listen to episodes live and comment on them. And all kinds of other goodies. And it would really help us out. So consider that. Especially since it's a new month. And, yeah, that's everything. We'll talk to you next week for Let's Talk FGL, and the next week for What's Up. Now I'm going to go blink or wash my eyes or something, because my vision's getting blurry. I might be slowly dying.
I'm going to go make comments on Not Safe for Works Artist's Twitter.